How'd it do?
Hey, gold jacket in the corner of the frame.
Thank you. Cool. Yeah.
I don't recognize that from last time. Is that new?
Yeah, it's been sitting there for a couple weeks now, actually.
Oh, I'm blind as shit. Well, fuck me then.
Keep the faith. Yeah.
What's up with you, man? How you doing, Wolves?
Not too bad. It is getting a bit rainy out here, but I did manage to get some outdoor activity this weekend. So yeah, another one chalked up to the old man woolly list here, but I went outside and played a game of Petanque. You familiar with Petanque? Do you remember?
I feel like I should remember, but it's not clicking in my brain right now.
Do you remember what Gaston and the
Are you playing fucking like marbles with old men on the sidewalk?
the game that the old men were playing in Disco Elysium? So I went and I played that for real because that's a thing that they do in France and in Quebec. It is a French game of old men throwing balls around, steel balls, and it's very good. Yeah, so that one was I got goaded into it because cool dude I've met, Command Grab James is his name, and I met him.
That's a great goddamn nickname.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. I met him at a UMAD event, and he is like, I just met him from like FGC stuff, and then in Versus Wolves I had to go do some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu challenge, and he kind of showed me some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
right?
And from hanging out with him there, I then showed him
I'm sorry, Command Grab James went to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with you
because his name comes from the fact that he does real command grabs. Exactly. And so yeah, absolutely, right, as he's got striking stand-up experience, he plays Steve Fox. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, you're literally living that life, right? And so at the next UMAD event, I was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna sit your ass down, let's play some Crokinole, right? That's the game with the finger, like knocking the things I was talking about.
Yeah, right.
And so, one old man game deserves another. So he's like, "Oh, you're into that shit? Okay, cool. I got some friends that play Petanque. You got to come play some." So yeah, after a thorough introduction to Crokinole, it was his turn to show me some Petanque, and so we went out to the water in like the Verdun area, like there's some parks around there.
I'm very familiar.
Yeah. So there's the whole like beachfront water area, canal, etc. And something I've always seen but I've ignored for most of my life has been those boxes of gravel that have been in the parks, and you kind of see them, and it's almost like bocce ball, like courts, in a way. But specifically, these are for this game Petanque. It is a French thing, so it turns out that yeah, it's a fun ass game. There's a reason why those old men play it and spend their days doing that, and
so they don't have to go home to their terrible wives
or reminisce about the old cocaine king, and the communism that almost was. But the way it works basically is yeah. So again, similar to bocce ball, if you've seen it, you have these steel balls. You have like 3 each, and then you kind of are tossing them. But you take a small little like rubber ball, you throw that anywhere between 6 to 10 meters away from you on like this little like gravel box, on the park, and then from where you're standing, you each take turns trying to, without moving your feet and trying to keep your body except for your arm, still as possible. You kind of underhand toss the steel ball so that it lands as close as possible to the original little rubber one you tossed, and you can whoever gets the ball closest by the end of all, your turns gets the point. And you can do things like drop the ball in to play where mine is closest, so it's like curling-ish, to the closest
I
to
was
the
about to
center.
say, is this curling? Is this just another game that is pretending to not be curling?
There's a lot of games that are pretending to not be curling, but I don't know which came first. But like
curling probably came last, right? Because ice.
But like Crokinole is a curling like thing, and as is bocce, as is this, and then even shuffleboard, right? Shuffleboard is a medium in between.
I want to point out that when you were saying that you were going to go play something, I almost blurted out, is this motherfucker about to tell me that he's out there playing shuffleboard?
So I played shuffleboard at ComboCon in Michigan, and like, yeah, that was pretty fun, and that's a nice in between sized, like wrist kind of perfecting the motion kind of game. But I think these are all the same kind of goal, the same kind of fun thing, which is just try to perfect a rote mechanic with your arm. And
it's like, listen, can you play horseshoes? Yes, you can play all of these.
Yeah. And like, yes, yeah, because cornhole, horseshoes, darts, right? Stand in spot and get the right
sorry, did you say cornhole?
Yeah.
Is that actually the name of a game?
Cornhole is in fact the name of the game. Have you never heard the term cornhole?
No, I have. I've heard the term cornhole.
Have you never heard of cornhole as for the game that it is? Have you ever You've never tossed a beanbag in a hole?
Oh, we just called that beanbag.
Well, it's not called beanbag. It's called cornhole.
Well, yeah. That literally means asshole.
Yeah, and I think, and the reason why people call your asshole your cornhole is because of the game it's named after.
It was because corn can go in there. Like an aquatine. No? All right.
Okay. Well, anyways, it's I know that cornhole is particular to certain areas as well. It's a very Ontario thing, certain northern states as well, I believe, etc. It might be a regional bit, but it's definitely the name of the game that you toss the beanbag into the hole on the wooden board. So, yes, I don't know what to.
I believe you. I'm just surprised.
Okay. Well, yes. So any and all of these games fit into this archetype, and Petanque is really cool. It's one of those. And then you get to show off your kind of cool shiny steel balls. You get to hold them like Giro Zappelli and pretend you're doing one of the things from JoJo Part 7. What's cool about what I like is whenever there's a moment in one of these games where you're like, okay, I see the basic thing, but like, what's the next step?
What's the top?
What's the high level shit? And it's like, oh, okay, so there's all these terms, and I forget what they were, but there's a lot of like French terms for things you can do. But like, if you toss the ball and get it as close as possible to the point that it's touching the reference ball, like the little rubber one, it's called a kiss, and in a lot of cases, that's as close as you can get, because if you have two balls that are close and you're not sure whose is like the closest and who's going to get the point, that's when you pull out the measuring tape. And so motherfuckers are walking out with the measuring tape and like holding it and like straight up calculating the angles and
We're
going
playing for serious right now. We can't be eyeballing this.
Apparently that's what it always comes down to, that. And like when you look at it, you're eyeballing and you're like, yeah, you'd think that you could just go like, that one's closer, but then you pull it out and you go, actually no, that is a half an inch off, or that's a couple millimeters off even.
Damn.
Right? So they're pulling out the measuring tape and getting serious with it. And so yeah, you can play on teams. So there was 2 teams of 2. Punchmon came out and played as well. And so as everyone tosses all their shots out, you kind of end up with a field of 12 balls all attempting to land around this goal, But one of the moves you can do is you can toss your ball to hit one of your opponents further away. So
Right.
reposition
Okay.
like curling again. But unlike curling, you can toss and hit the center ball and reposition the entire game by moving that somewhere else on the court. So in curling, the closer you are to the center, the more points you're getting. Imagine if you could hit the center closer to where your other pieces are, and now the whole score has changed. And like the
This feels
yeah,
like a serendipitous rule change a million years ago where somebody did it and they went, fuck it.
that it's crazy.
Let's keep playing.
Yeah, and no, but that adds a whole lot of strategy because when you're coming up like last, you have the choice to be like, I'm going to either try to land as close as possible, but if the ball that you just toss is closer than I can possibly really reliably hit it, I can aim for hitting you, or I can aim to hit the target and make the target move to my team's side, you know? And like all of those different strategies are like viable at the same time. So immediately this game became like, oh shit, like you're tossing the steel ball, but there's a lot to consider in how you play and where to toss, and you know, beyond just getting the wrist motion correct, you know. You kind of learn to toss it the way you kind of learn to bowl, you know. It takes a couple tries before you're like, I tend to curve to the left or whatever the case is. But changing your actual target for different strategic purposes, that's the shit. That's a lot of fun. Yeah. So the you know, the guy I teamed with was really good at sniping, you know, the opponent's like particular ball out of position, and like I was like getting all right at kind of softly rolling it up to the ball, and then Punch Bomb and Command Grab James on the other team were, you know, doing their best to play defensively and stuff. So there's some attempts where you can be like, you know what, fuck it, I don't believe in my accuracy right now. It's too crowded, and I don't want to hit my points further away. I'm gonna just toss it really weak and have it slowly roll up, you know. And if you can get it a little bit shy of the front position, that's a defensive play, you know. So anyway, Petanque is pretty fun. And then it started raining, unfortunately, so you know, we had to call the game before we could really get all the way up, because you play till 13. But you know, it makes sense. And the funny thing too is, like, as we were going up to play on one of the smaller like bocce courts, they the friend pulled up and was like, yo, actually I know a better place to play, let's go over there. So we like rolled out, and there was like 3 different courts within about 20 minutes or so of each other. And one was like a smaller side near like a pool. Another one was closer in a forest. And then there's one that was right in front of an old folks home. So like, there's legit levels, you know, and you're like, oh, if we want to go and like challenge some of the old men, some of the seniors, we can play on the court right outside the old folks home. You know? And yeah, you can lay claim wherever you want to, and you know, see what's up. And I bet you, you know, they'll teach you a thing or two about the way it's fucking done. They've been doing this shit for the last 60 years. So yeah.
I feel like we're a couple weeks away, maybe months, from you coming onto the podcast and telling me that you learned how to play bridge.
I mean,
and then you just time lapse age into like a skeleton on the spot. Because in my mind, bridge is the oldest person's game.
I think so. I would say so. But it's just cards, though. You know, there's something fun about these games of like mechanical precision. I enjoy them. You know, I've always like thought darts was cool and pool was cool.
Why I always thought that all the card games are the oldest is because you can play those card games with no legs and 2 fingers. You know, like,
you can
when you're proper aged.
But you know, yes, and then I'll hit up the bingo hall next. Exactly. But really, it's just, you get into one and someone goes, oh, you like this shit? We'll check this other shit out. And
guess what? There's like 40 different flavors of these not curlings.
And there's a whole lot of young people playing old man games and getting into them ahead of time. So yeah, I'm down, you know. And it feels like the type of thing too, where like if you've got a little bit of space in a backyard or somewhere around you, you know, it's a nice thing to do outside too as well.
So how far do you need? You said 6 to 10 meters earlier.
I mean, the box they make is a box that's like, I don't know, probably like 12 by 12. You know, it's not huge. It's just like a little chunk of the park that's there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a sandbox. You know, when you see like a kid's like kind of sandbox type of thing, it's one of those.
Right.
And yeah, like it's something to do where you're like, if you feel like I want to go outside, I don't feel like barbecuing or like setting up a full like picnic thing, but you're kind of just like, I feel like doing an outdoor activity today. You know, that's the perfect thing. You just grab a couple of your Petanque balls, go sit out there, and take it at a leisurely pace. It's that kind of day. So, yeah, getting into that. We'll see how it goes. I have not yet committed to any purchases of balls and stuff, but I did see that they brought their own and they're showing them off. They're like, ooh, I got a new set that's got the double indents. There's different weights. There's a weight range for the precise, you know, like feeling that you want to get. And it's crazy, but like the actual, like some of the steel balls actually are engraved like the steel balls in JoJo, like the steel ball run ones. They really have the exact kind of, you know, indention, engraved parts and things like that. So, yeah.
That is crazy that the guys making the steel balls would have gone and looked up this JoJo thing so they could engrave it the same way.
Right? Isn't it nuts
that's bananas? You'd think that'd be kind of obscure.
I mean, Araki really is out here inspiring everything and everyone, you know. But yeah, I think you kind of just see the characters in Disco standing around with the balls in the court there, but you know, the actual game and how it's played is it's a fun Sunday. It's a fun activity, you know. And look, man, kites are cool, but you'll never be guaranteed a good wind day. So, you know, just like today, just like yesterday, you're not guaranteed a good sunny day.
Yeah,
either.
We had a day the other week where it was like, oh, it's not even hot. Why does it feel so hot? It's like, oh, because the wind is done today.
Yeah.
Totally dead air. And I actually thought to myself, oh, it'd be really hard for Wooly to fly a kite.
You know, I'm checking the app, you know. If it's if the numbers are too low, then you can't really do much with it, you know. Not every day.
A little like dystopian about that, where it's like I have to look at my magic rectangle if the rectangle tells me I can go play with my toys or not.
I mean, realistically, you can get out to the space. You can go drive there and be like, oh, it's not windy enough, and go back home. And the problem is I've had too many days of being like, it looks okay, and then I get there,
not okay,
and it sucks, and I'm like, well, that was a waste. And I've done that at least 3 or 4 times now, where like it's like, well, that, you know, like at least it's like, okay, well, let's go do something else. But the effort of like getting out there to go do it and then realizing that you can't sucks. So I'm just like, let's rely on the wind app to save a trip of nothing.
Well, that's when you just give up and just get drunk in the park.
There's always that.
And play with your kites like they're action figures.
You know, or you can you know, some of the best spaces for playing are always taken up by cricket, because the cricket players, they just put the cones down that take up 50 to 70% of the park space. It's kind of obscene. Like, imagine a baseball field, but like you're creating that, you're putting the barriers up out of a park space that we all have to share.
Decided that we're going to create a full-scale baseball field here. What?
It sucks.
But
I really don't
get out of the field. No.
Like, take your turn or whatever the case is, but it's like, no, we are permanently gonna show up and claim most of it. And basically you're seeing the people playing cricket, and then the ball's never going that far out anyways. It's like the actual action with the wicket and the bowler and the pitch and all that are happening in like 10% of the space that's been locked off. And
hey,
And then you have all the other people that are outside trying to enjoy the park crammed into the remaining 40%. It's really not cool.
You seem to be all up to date on all these non like common outdoor games. Is cricket not just like weird, stupid British baseball?
Yeah, but it got exported to all the colonies. So it got exported to India and it got exported to the Caribbean. So
Sure,
I
but like
we played it in Grenada, and yeah,
same basic
yeah.
idea, right? Is
Toss
they throw
ball,
the thing.
toss ball in a different way, hit ball with a different type of bat, and basically touch base, but it's only one, and pitcher has to try to hit thing where catcher would be.
Do the pitchers have the ability? Do they throw the rock or whatever they got? I bet it's a ball.
They bowl they bowl
hard
the ball.
enough that their elbows explode off their goddamn bodies.
Oh yeah, they do. and I can't tell you a whole lot about cricket because like I don't fully really remember much of that shit. But what I do know is you overhand with the most aggressive wind up you've seen. So the way pitchers in baseball have to like disconnect their shoulders and elbows almost like. When you watch it in cricket, they have to go like way over their heads and then downward, you know? So it's this crazy downward angle that like instead of going to the side and snapping the way like an MLB player does, it's like violently ripping your shoulder above and then coming downward. It really does look like you're going to disconnect your arm every time.
That's great.
Yeah. You know, and then you're trying to get it low, and then exactly they bounce, and then you get that kind of upward bunt swing thing. But it's all the same basic premise, yeah. Taking up way more space than it fucking needs to, and
wow, that cricket pitch looks fucking weird. Holy shit!
It also takes a very long time, and it's also there's a whole lot of downtime and a whole lot of people standing around doing nothing, and it's just like
why
baseball.
do all the British sports have to look fucking goofy and stupid?
I mean, I think it's more just at this point it's international, right? We're talking like it's these.
No, I mean in Genesis. Look at these cricket pitches, and this guy looks British as shit. Even if he's not from England, he's got his legs and arms flailing. Oh my god.
Is polo a British sport? Did they invent that? Because
I don't think they did.
Okay.
I think that's like from a horse culture.
Because hockey on horses is fucking crazy. Like that's wild shit. I thought
that was soccer on horses.
Yeah, or lacrosse on horses. One of those things, you know. So yeah. Anyway, all this to say that kite space and park and picnic space is at a premium whenever cricket is about, and yeah, they're being greedy. They're being greedy, taking up all the room. But regardless, yeah, that's some outdoor stuff. So Petanque is fun.
Well, that's cool.
Okay. Besides that, so last time. I believe you got a little bit of the alpha for Marvel Rivals.
I did.
Yes. So
I liked it. It was still very alpha, but like it had some cool stuff.
So I didn't get to try that 2 months ago, but I did get to try this current beta out. I love it. Yeah. It's great. It's really fun, and it's
the most impressive thing is all the characters' different movements.
It's super polished. I think a lot of people are going to have a moment in a period of time, in a short period of time, when they get their hands on it and go, "Oh fuck, this is a really fun game." Like I think right now you're kind of seeing the art style, which you know it's not pretending to not be Overwatch. The fonts are the same, the sounds are the same. Like Galacta is talking to you the same way the I think it's Athena talks to you, you know, or so. Like it's all there, but all that it works, and the game is very, very fun, and I think that like it's going to be huge. I think
that the game will be huge based on one factor. Because we're in that period of like, I played the alpha, you played the beta, and we came away very positive. It's got characters everybody likes. It runs really well. Everything's great. Everything's super great. And then we're gonna have to wait until the day it comes out to find out. So how are they planning to make money off of this?
Yeah.
Because
Oh, for sure.
Because it could be anything.
You could be anything. Right now, there's nothing in there. Nothing. Right now, the switch is off. It is firmly off. There is no, but there's the implication of a battle pass. Because you have the one that's inside there. That's progress based. That's free, and then you have the store that you're buying costumes with in-game earned currency. So it's all off right now, but for sure that's going to be coming. That we'll see when it comes, But in terms of the moment to moment, like, I'm obviously gonna have a giant bias on this, but like it makes me so happy that the entire game is third person. Like, like I really have it's difficult to describe how moment to moment I'm just enjoying that aspect of it constantly, as opposed to in first-person shooters where I have to kind of forget about it and find the fun, and then I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm having fun in other ways with this and getting used to that aspect of it. Like I'll Titanfall will be so awesome regardless of the viewpoint, that I'll just be enjoying everything going on with that.
I think it's interesting because, like, they just pulled the camera back. Like, it's a first-person game that you're viewing from third person.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're always pointed where you're aiming.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't like, because the obvious thing is like, well, people will buy more skins if they can actually see the skin on their character, right?
Right.
But also, I bet there was a version of this game sometime that you were playing as like Spider-Man in first person, and they were like, oh, this is. This is fucking awful.
Yeah. That's a really good observation, because for sure. Like, the fact that you can fucking see your character and see your skins means you can enjoy that aspect of the game more. And while the characters have, like, you take Overwatch characters and you split their kits up and rearrange them to different pieces, you get a lot of these characters in Marvel Rivals. But Spider-Man and Venom are spider swinging really fast and really aggressively.
Really fast. I picked Spider-Man as my first match. I was like, oh fuck, I suck at this, but ooh, cool.
Yeah, they give you the Insomniac spider swing, right? Like, you can straight up do the type of swing you can do in those games and fly through the air and release, and by the time you go from top height to bottom, you get another one. So it's not helpful to your team, but you can swing around like a jackass all over the map and do that if you want to. So with that level of, like, doing that in first person and grabbing onto the wall, running off the wall, and then targeting somebody and zipping to them to do like your spider sting uppercut there.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, but it'd be terrible in first person in that experience for sure.
It'd be nauseating.
Very much so. Then, like, there's just the part where again you get to enjoy, like I said, the skins and all that stuff. I think I like how they also are they're going, okay, you have their concept of like your tanks, your healers, your DPS, and all those types of things. They kind of simplified it into like Vanguard, duelists, and then strategists is like the three categories they go with.
Heavy damage, other,
yeah. And other doesn't always mean healing necessarily, but it's like, okay, so but they do things where it's like, okay, you want your diva, well, okay, do you want your diva like kit or aesthetic? Because aesthetically, Penny Parker is diva because they just basically
she's more diva because she went past diva to the inspiration
to Ava.
Of diva.
Yeah. she went past diva straight to an Ava. And she's jumping into the spider mech, which is now like looking very Ava as well. And
or do you actually want to play diva? Then there's Hulk right there.
Hold on a minute. I'm getting an error here on
oh no!
the computer. Be right back. Let me fix that. 1 second.
Oh, computer. No.
All right, there we go. Yeah, just some space issues. That's on me.
You gotta delete your old porn while they get it off the work
Yeah,
computer.
yeah, clearly. No, I think the temp files and stuff just build up, so gotta do that. What was I saying? Third person teams characters. Oh yeah, okay. So Diva is split aesthetically into Penny Parker, but then kit wise, it's actually
Hulk.
Hulk. Yeah.
Just like what?
Because Hulk, and then like, it's like, why is that? And it's like, because
And it's reverse Diva. You start as the Diva,
and then you get into your mech. But in this case, you start as Banner, and then you Hulk out, and then when you get defeated, you go back to being Banner. And as long as nobody kills you, you can very quickly build back up your Hulk out again.
And then for your ult, you become an even bigger, angrier Hulk.
Yeah, not Savage Hulk, but I forgot what the name was, but it's basically Savage Hulk.
Big Hulk.
And you can do the puny god slam, at that. Now the issue I would say is, while that's a really interesting design for a kit, he as a tank doesn't feel like Hulk because he has tank health, but he hits really weak. His punches feel really weak because his job is not to be a high damage character. Exactly. So I know that balance wise, that's probably how to keep him, fair in his role. But
what are you supposed to do? Because you're supposed to be like, I want Hulk to be able to knock everyone out in one punch.
Yeah.
And also never die.
No, exactly. So but it doesn't feel good, right? So it's like now you have an issue of like, okay, expectation of character and lore and how faithful it needs to be versus the gameplay requirements. And I think like there might be something to that where I'm sure they've thought about this, but like maybe making him feel like Hulk in terms of life and damage, but then he drops back to being Banner on a time limit or something, could be the way to deal with that. Like the weaknesses are more about him hulking out and then losing it or something to that effect. But right now,
nah, man, don't you get it? Because of the merging of the bullshit magic. Okay,
well the setting, the story, whatever the magic, whatever bullshit is, like it's the premise is rad as shit. Doctor Doom from the future and Doctor Doom from the past are fighting each other because they both invented some crazy shit that conflicts with each other's realities, and so now only Doom can defeat Doom. And everyone else has got to figure out a way to survive in the wake of that. So that's sick. And I'm imagining Doom is going to become a character that drops shortly after they start announcing them, yeah, like that's that. And I think like that Hulk thing is probably like my biggest flaw with the game right now is like he just doesn't feel that fun to use because he's jumping in and being the heavy annoying guy, but like he's not being anywhere near as heavy and annoying as Venom, for example. Venom is another tank who gets to jump in and do a temporary heal on his big life bar while
that makes sense.
Yeah, and then and he can't really aim. He doesn't have a gun. He just has a bunch of, symbiote tendrils that are poking at you. So he gets real close and does that kind of Winston shit where he jumps behind the line, he targets the healers, and then he takes some damage and then he jumps away. He harasses the back line. It feels
that effect on his tentacles looks incredible.
Yeah, and between that and his ability to like wrap you up with the tentacles as well, it feels like he's doing what Hulk ought to be doing, because Hulk can do the Hulk jump, and he can, but then Hulk does instead a Zarya shield on everybody, which is not what I would think of, but you can see that they're looking at these roles as like, kit first, character second in some cases. Spider-Man is a perfect case of character first, kit second, because
Spider-Man has to do this, and this.
And Spider-Man does exactly what you think he does. What would you imagine his moves to be? Web?
The uppercut that
punch,
he always has and everything.
Like melee attacks, right? Zip towards enemy, zip enemy towards you, web up your enemy, and swing and do run on the walls. That's what he does, right? 100%. And so, like, as that, he completely is that character. But as a result, he's considered like one of the hardest characters on the cast to use.
Oh yeah,
which is wild because it's fucking Spider-Man, and like that's a crazy thing to do, to be like, it's like, hey, you want to be a Jedi? Fucking work for it. It's from that same school of thought here. But that's a character that is 100% faithful in his play.
I don't know if they're going to change it before the game releases, but there is one thing that did throw me off really bad when I played it, and I don't know if they change it in the build that you're playing. But I played a much higher amount of the Punisher than I did other characters, which was shocking because I'm
Yeah.
not the biggest Punisher mark.
Yeah.
Because he's one of the only characters that actually has a hit scan gun. Almost everybody else fires projectiles that like slowly travel.
Yeah. So Punisher is, I wasn't using him at first, and I started like after I streamed it, I then kept playing, you know, because the beta, I think it lasted until today. He's really easy to use because he's Bastion. And like he can go into turret mode and he can deal with flyers and he can deal with anything. Like if he just focuses and rolls,
he's a gunman.
He's a gunman, and he can switch to a shotgun, point blank. And if you've got great aim and you can headshot fairly consistently, he's pretty much your best bet, with the exception of Hela, who is.
She also has a hit scan.
Yeah, but Hela. So I don't know if it is hit scan, but it is definitely. I think you see her swords travel. I don't think it's hit scan, but Hela is really, really strong because like she has a perfect kind of like, I guess is it a sniper? No, not a sniper rifle. Whatever the case is, if she hits your body with her projectile with her swords, it does like whatever mid damage. But if she headshots you, it's 2 shots and you're dead. You know. Hela is hit scan. Okay, all right. So
yeah, one of the things that's goofy in these games is just because you see a projectile travel doesn't necessarily mean
I
it's
didn't know that. I thought hit scan was tied to instant fire laser.
Usually, like I mean, like mechanically it is, but like sometimes they'll throw the projectile afterwards just to show it. But you would never be able to dodge it if it's hit scan.
Oh, so the result occurs and then the sword travels as an animation regardless.
Yeah, to justify it.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, for her, like if you've got incredible aim, like Hela's just killing it on the team, you know, and then the ability to fly away. Hela is the Thor and Loki's sister from Ragnarok.
Kate Blanchett.
But yeah, it's interesting seeing like, okay, so you got that. Doctor Strange is a lot of fun because like I was looking for a Reinhardt, you know, because I really enjoyed playing Reinhardt, and like yeah, Doctor Strange holds the front line with the shield up, you know, but because he's Doctor Strange, he's not a tank, but he has the shield. So that's there, and as long as your shield is up, you're fine. When it breaks, you've got to back off and use his magic projectiles, which build up, and then he's got to pop them because it becomes anti-heal after a while. So that's an interesting mechanic of like the more damage you do, the more you build up a debuff. But then that becomes a big attack, and then he's got a Symmetra teleport, you know, so then he can create the actual like ring so that your team can get back in faster. So it's like, you have a Reinhardt Symmetra, you know.
Yeah, but fuck all that. You portal people into the fucking out of bounds areas.
Sure. Yeah. Right. But I mean, but then you need a way to actually like get them in there, unless you're doing griefing your team is of course on board. Why? But that's way more work than just grabbing Jeff the Land Shark, because Jeff the Land Shark can eat as his super allies or enemies and swim to an edge and spit them out over the edge.
Great.
So, you know, Jeff is like probably the best healer, just in terms of speed for healing, like you know, HPS, heals per second, you know, whatever. But yeah, like he gets to jump into the ground and eat you and spit you out. So like there's that. Rocket Raccoon is a nice like healing hybrid that like has a really damaging gun because it's Rocket fucking Raccoon, right? So he has the ability to support the backline with heals, but like if he aims and you know and lets loose, like his damage output is really good as well. So yeah, there's just a nice split there, you know. Overall, my favorite was Magic. Because
I played a good deal of Magic.
Magic feels awesome as a melee character. She can, you know, dash in, do a launcher, get an air combo, and then teleport out and follow up with either a spin or like a demon that like just does damage. She's just a really fun like character for making picks. And but you have to have good. You have to have good awareness of like where the weaker people are on the team, and you have to get in, and essentially there's a combo sequence you can do with her, which involves like doing a spin slash in, high time, air combo, and then dash out, before anyone kills you. But if you can make picks, you can do a lot of work with her. She's a lot of fun. And her ult is just an install that's a stronger version. She also gets the Reinhardt like hammer wave, so you can take on like a good flyer or someone that's harassing you from a distance as well. She was definitely my favorite. Iron Man, I would say secondary, because I just was like, let's try out this flying jetpack fun,
Yeah, he also, like Spider-Man, gets to do everything you would expect he'd be able to do, and you're like, this seems like a lot
flyers
for a character in this type of game.
Flyers are flyers. Like it's not just Farah, It's like, no, you can take to the air as a number of characters that canonically fly.
It's not like a slow fall. It's like, no, I am zip-zooping around.
Like, so Iron Man literally never touches the ground. He spends the entire time in the air. The lowest you can do is hover above the ground. And yeah, the first time I picked him, I just fucking shrieked like crazy. Like, it was nuts. I took out a bunch of people. I was like, oh my God, that's it. Like, you alternate between
players don't look up.
Yeah. So you don't exactly. So if people are not looking up, you're just taking them out because you have your repulsor blast. You've got your beams. You've got your fucking missiles and shit like that. Unfortunately, his ult is not a proton cannon, but so be it. And when people either you switch to a hit scan character like Punisher or Hela to take out a flyer like Iron Man, you pick an Iron Man to take out an Iron Man, because beam versus other flying characters is really strong. Or you get Scarlet Witch, and Scarlet Witch is now flying character who has a diva bomb for an ult, but her main gun is Winston's electricity, so she just has to get close and hold it down, and it auto locks on for damage, which if people have a hard time getting away from you and or no one healing them, because healers sometimes are separate from the flyers, then they die really quick, right? Moira Siphon, I couldn't really give you.
I didn't play Overwatch and Moira's. I
didn't linger long enough for Moira to be a reference I can get for you. The latest I can go is probably Doomfist or Anna, and of course there's that too. There's a sleep that she has and stuff. Just a whole lot of fun. Groot's in there being properly annoying, putting up the walls, playing Minecraft. Playing Fortnite while everyone else is trying to push the payload. And then something that really affects this game as well that I think is awesome is the team ups, right? Something that is actually quite different from Overwatch is that your team composition can be made up of people who are have synergy with each other, not just because like tactical synergy comes into play, but because they get literal extra abilities when you have them on the same team. When Rocket Raccoon and Punisher are on the same team, they love guns. So Rocket Raccoon throws out his usual generator, and it makes Punisher's guns have like infinite ammo with no reloads and a higher rate of fire. When Rocket has Groot on the field, he can jump on his shoulders, as can Jeff the Landshark. Like there's really little fun things like that. And you will see, I've noticed as well, just queuing up, especially in competitive, people that are like, okay, I'll wait for someone to pick who they're comfortable with first, because people who are, kind of only good with one or two characters will probably go to those. And if I feel comfortable, I'll pick whoever has synergy with that. So if you get, Loki, Thor, and Hela all on the field, whenever Hela scores a kill, Loki and Thor get health back, or if they're dead, they res, which is huge.
Wow, that's pretty big.
That's really big. And if you're a good Hela, you're constantly killing. So
I still think one of the zaniest things that, I mean, maybe they changed it from what I played, but I remember picking up Loki, and being like, wow, the Loki players I've been fighting are like really good about getting their fake Lokis out there. It seems that like every time I kill a fake Loki, like the guy just puts one right up, and then I played as Loki and I'm like, wait, these goddamn duplicates just live on the map fucking forever? What the fuck?
Because
that's crazy.
They're teleport points. They're turrets that he can become. So yeah, as Loki, you can.
That's so fucking annoying and cool. Also,
yeah, you have and there's literally it's two abilities, right? So you're not doing the same ability twice. But as Loki, you can create a fake where you're standing that then you disappear, or you can create a fake from a distance where you're not standing. You know, and they both just stand there and shoot. But then if you look at them, you can teleport into them and take them over. So yeah.
Wait, people are saying they also heal your party.
Oh, wow. While getting hit with the bullets, they're auto shooting. That makes sense because
Loki's a swarm character. That's so goofy.
Because he shoots his damaging shot heals your team when you aim it at them. So it's all in one ability. So that makes perfect sense. They're small healers. Yeah, okay. And then on top of that, his ult lets you copy someone else to become another character on the team. And I was like, I remember I read that. I was like, okay, you could X copy another character. Sure, you could have a duplicate. What's the big deal? And it's like, no. You copy a character and your ult is still full. So I picked him and then I copied Punisher to become Punisher. And then I popped his ult and it's just a walking fucking insane gun platform, you know? Judge, jury, executioner, you know, and you're in Bastion mode again. You know, so he gets a huge benefit to that. Whoever's on the team whose ability you can benefit from the most at a time, just use that. You know,
this is only tangentially related, but I don't know if you've seen that Overwatch 2 is testing a return to 6v6.
Yeah, I heard. I heard they announced that.
Wow, so the whole thing was for nothing, huh? Like just straight up.
Return to the crack of my ass. Fuck that. Like, even that, and here's the thing, I kind of was saying like, oh boy, I'm sure there's going to be a Blizzard response. All right, we'll see what happens. There's going to have to be something. Like, something from now.
You're gay.
You, the player. You, the player.
Congratulations.
You know, you didn't know it, but it turns out your backstory the whole time is that you're gay.
Oh, man.
Oh, me? Wow. That's nuts, Blizzard.
That is nuts. That's crazy.
Damn. They waited till now. Okay, what else is happening? Half the company is getting laid off. Oh, I see. My gay backstory revealed was a cover for the mass layoffs at Blizzard. Yeah. All right. And yet you like, they're gonna have to respond, right? They're gonna have to do something. And whatever the fuck they end up doing, I don't care because it's not third person. Like,
oh yeah,
it still doesn't matter, you know.
Because you were always like, oh man, Overwatch is cool, but man, it'd be full order magnitude cooler.
Yeah,
if I could see the characters, and I was like, yeah, you're probably right, but I don't feel that intensely about it. Mm-hmm. But now that we have seen and played the exact thing that you were talking about, there was also Paladins. I don't know if you ever played that.
I remember Paladins. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, no, you're completely right. No, I don't want to go back to just first person. I want to see my gorilla man or my sniper lady or whoever.
I've softened on it over the years because like I've gotten more used to first person shooters, as you know, y'all have been like, hey, be normal. I'm like, all right.
You know? It's not working.
No, but you're trying. But what doesn't help is when I see a game like Destiny or replays in Overwatch where suddenly the game goes to third person and I get a moment of like, God damn it, I can see what this would be like for a second.
I need to hold up my hand here. I wanted Paladins to be in third person so bad. I'm remembering it incorrectly as being in third person.
What was the other game that was third person though?
I don't know.
It's not Paladins, then it's another game.
No.
There is definitely one that I saw at multiple there's one of those games that was at multiple game shows. Smite? I guess Smite. I guess Smite. Smite's probably the one then. Yeah. Having played neither, I couldn't tell you, but that's probably it. But I see these moments where Destiny goes third person for your supers, replays go third person in Overwatch, you know. And you know, I've over the years, I remember early on when I was really like, ugh, I hate this. Even like Metroid Prime, I was like, oh, okay, they go third person for these quick moments for like Morph Ball and stuff, but the visor stuff is awesome, and you can't do the visor stuff in third person. So there's a I mean, you could, but there's a thing to the way they made those games that I appreciate what they were doing with that.
Man,
you know?
Destiny's way of going third person is just like so fucking lame. Like, well, this is an appropriate day to bitch about Destiny, but like, Bungie makes first-person shooters, but then they wanted you to be like, oh, but I want the cool armor, and so you can see yourself in third person for like 10 seconds in your super, or if you have a melee weapon.
Yeah.
But that's not enough. So like, oh, how do we make people? Oh, you know what? We'll put them in third person in the hub area. And the only place you'll ever be meaningfully in third person is the hub.
Oh, man.
Does that change anything about how the hub works? No.
Now, here, their hands are even, like, more tied because they're fucking Marvel characters. You know? They're superheroes.
I want to see Iron Man.
It's crazy. You have to see them. Their design, their colors, everything about them is about seeing them, you know?
I don't want to see Iron Man from the elbow out. I want to fly around zip zoop.
Right? And they would have to build a lot of these characters if they were in first person. They'd have to build the identity into their arms, and there are things where like, oh, Hela and Scarlet Witch might look or feel a bit too samey, you know, if they were stuck in first person, and you want to, things wouldn't necessarily be as distinct, you know. When you're making stuff from scratch, of course, you can do whatever you want, but they have an IP here that you want to see. And I think Fortnite, to some degree, with the skins in that, it also matters to that end, right? When you fucking get your caked up Chun-Li, it's so that you can see her running around in Fortnite. So anyway, gameplay aside, there's just that element of it that is much preferred. You get these payload push style missions that are all the things you'd expect, and all the direct replacements.
I really just need an excuse to shoot the other team. I'll be quite honest.
Yeah, sure. You know, depending on, I remember when I was playing Overwatch comp, it was like, oh, certain types of missions are better for certain characters. Like Punisher is great, but like if you have a payload push, it's not always great to go into your turret mode because you're
Scarlet Witch would be good on a payload push because she has her bomb to tell everyone to get the fuck off the payload
or whatever the hell, you know. Yeah, so there's things like that. But anyways, all this was actually just deciding from the fact that like these team ups were a really unique, fun thing about the game. But the commitment, if you think about it, to like getting these instant reses with all the Asgard siblings is half of your team is them. So you better be comfortable with Thor, Loki, and Hela, you know?
Yeah. And it's like, you know, it'll be interesting in a couple of years when they decide that this incredibly fun res mechanic is not balanced anymore and completely neuter it.
Do something else.
Meaning that, oh my God.
Break the character.
I didn't even play Overwatch when they made that Mercy change, and I was like, bro, I would stop playing today if I still was.
Did she not get reworked twice? Is that, if I'm not, I think
she did, and one of the reworks was her fucking ult no longer picks up the team off the floor.
Right, yeah. Heroes never die except for the ones who do. And then the other thought is like, okay, so if you decide to go with magic, you pick Black Panther, and well, they don't really have a whole lot in common lore wise, but they together team up to have a teleporter, so they can use a two-way teleport that only they can use. And it's like, that's a really, really good ability for a backlining picking character to be able to just instantly look at a space and get there and then take someone and then jump back through that
It's pretty good,
and no one else can follow.
They don't seem trapped in like, well, these characters are friends, so they have a team up.
Yeah.
Instead, some of that is there.
Yeah,
but then some of it is like, it'd be cool though.
And they kind of went like, oh yeah, Wakanda reached out to the Limbo, and you know, Magic answered back, and so that's their reason. Whatever, who cares? They get a teleport. But the actual gameplay reason is because if you pick fucking Magic and Black Panther, you have two melee picking characters. You have two characters that don't have guns.
You're going to be diving a lot.
That's crazy. Two of your 6 are committed to that, and if you're thinking about it, they're both DPS characters. So your 2 tanks are there, your 2 healers are there, and all of your kills are coming from people jumping the back line. Holy fuck, you better have your shit together. Here's a teleport. Use it wisely. It's a wild dive comp, exactly, you know? So they've put a lot of thought into that too. Going through some of these stuff, there's all the things, the sprays and the, you know, play of the game things. Although play of the game is interesting here because instead they'll pick the player of the game, but everyone will have a highlight reel, so you can watch your own highlight of your best moment.
It's like, hey man, hey, you did a good job too.
Yeah.
Your highlight reel,
yeah.
Die in it, and you're like, fuck.
You don't watch what the other people were doing necessarily. You have to click to take a look, you know. But something that sets this apart, and I don't know that any other game of team shooter or so has this, so, you know, correct me if I'm wrong here. I mean, shit, I referenced what is it? Anyway, whatever. I should have said Team Fortress Spy earlier. I didn't play Team Fortress 2. I don't know.
Spy turns on other people.
Sure. Yeah. Loki, right. You go to the ability screen to explain their move list and everything they do, and they show you, you know, here's what the character's about, here's their alts, here's the uniques, and here's their team ups. And then the last thing on the move list is, here is the suggested combo of how to play the character. And
it's nice.
That is so good.
Just give me somewhere to start.
Somewhere to start. Give me a bread and butter. And it's like, okay, so you've got magic, she's got swords, but you're in a game where everyone's got guns, so you're going to die a lot. So what you probably want to do is learn this combo, because if you do it and you're accurate and no one else is on your ass, you can kill a character in a straight shot touch, but you have to not fuck this up. All right, here it is. Teleport in, spin slash, dash, launch, 1-2, teleport out. Right? It shows you on the fucking move list, learn this, and this is how you play the character properly. And, you know, you go to every character, and it shows you, like, here's the sequence. You want to, you know, with Iron Man, dash in, throw some missiles out, get up close, use the beam, you know, put the chest armor on, get amplified damage, fly out of there. You know?
Yeah, Hulk, like, literally was like, jump in, throw your shield on, punch people twice, jump away.
I very much appreciate a team shooter showing you a bread and butter combo. And
it is goofy though, because it brings into mind the thing you were talking about before, where you're like, here's the character's kit and their intended purpose, and I'm like, yes, Hulk, the hit and run specialist.
yeah, hit, run, and Zarya shield everybody, right? Yes, exactly. You know, but no, it really is nice, because it's like, there's times where I was like, I want to play a little bit of each of these characters to see how they feel, because, like, you know, as a character going into it, like, Magic wasn't always my favorite or anything. I was like, oh cool, Ileana grew up, you know, to be this sword girl. That's dope. All right. From my Ileana knowledge is all the X-Men cartoon of Colossus going, Ileana!
She gets a huge push in what was it called? Midnight Suns.
Okay.
She's like one of the main characters there.
Yeah.
And that's when I found out she existed.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, I really like this character a lot.
okay. She was a little girl in X-Men pre-97, X-Men 92, you know. And I always I was like, okay, that's cool. It's Colossus's sister. Sure. You know. So
but she's magic. Shut up.
yeah, and so when she grew up and became fucking sword girl, I was like, oh, rad. That's nice. That's fun. It was a bit of a Nightwing thing, you know? Like, oh yeah, okay. You went from being this to that, and that's who you are now. Yay for time and things. But now just looking at like gameplay wise, I was like, oh yeah, she can fucking melee it in this game in a way that I like, kind of like Doomfist, you know. And I'm like, I always enjoy that. So that's where the attention goes. Black Panther's the same thing, but just a little a bit harder to use, and
Panther is aggressive as fucking shit.
yeah, but like
never stop going in,
but then never stop going out. You get the fuck out. You have to get out so quickly. And at least with magic, you can teleport out a little bit easier, you know. Whereas like him, it's like you're getting shot in the back. like good fucking luck, you know. Anyway, this whole team up thing is cool because you'll have these teams that are ostensibly going to be like, all right, here's 3 that are synergy. You know, you've got the Asgard kids, and then you've got Rocket, and Punisher, and then maybe you can pick a 6th for whatever purposes, you know. But like the idea that you can have a composition made up of like a triple team up and a double team up is like a fun way to look at compositions in this game as well. Smaller synergies within the group as opposed to, you know, I guess the whole role.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome game, really good so far. I was able to
hopefully they don't fuck it up with microtransactions.
Hope that's what'll do it. That's what'll do it, you know. I was able to
Have you ever had a game that you felt that way and got like destroyed on release?
I mean, For Honor was rough.
For Honor had horrible crippling problems aside from all that other shit though.
But a game where like I played it beforehand and then they hit the button, I don't know. If so, it would have been probably something we talked about here.
People are pointing out Gundam Evo.
Gundam Evolution? Okay.
I don't know if Multiverses counts because it's still not technically even out.
Yeah, I don't know. We would have talked about it here, I'm sure, in the past at some point. Gundam Evo, I just, you know, whatever. I enjoyed for as briefly as I could.
Wild that game is still dead.
But the last thing I was going to say was, something that they had in this beta that was a reward that you permanently get to keep when the game launches, surprisingly, is a color for Venom that's like...
Oh, the Marvel vs. Capcom
The
color?
Marvel vs. Capcom cyan color, yeah. Which is awesome, because I'm like, oh yeah, he wasn't that color in any other thing. But
ever.
It's specifically from MVC. So that cool blue Venom is the reward. So I'm like, okay, let me just get that, you know, at the very least, because that's for sure something I'm gonna want. And I also noticed too that like none of these skins are classic at all. Like Magneto has a gray outfit and then a dark like purple outfit, but it's not really.
It's China. It's China anime shit. I love that shit.
But for sure you're gonna expect to see a classic Magneto for sale at some point with the red and purple, you know. But yeah, some of these outfits are just like, you know, cool newer takes on some of them. But like there's for sure a big, if you want to sell Magneto with the suns out, guns out crop top, that's coming. You're gonna have to spend some points on that. Yeah, and then of course, you know, the playing the game of what Marvel characters are going to show up next. It's like fucking the sky's the limit, you know. Anyone from any current thing that they're pushing that would be very popular, such as Deadpool, for example, or Wolverine. Speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes.
Did you see it?
Nope.
Okay. There's a fun spoiler conversation to have about that movie if you do get a chance to watch it.
I think I'm not gonna talk about any detail, but I was talking to someone else.
I won't spoil either.
Who saw it, and they were like, "Wow, there's that movie opens strong," they said, "but I don't want to tell you what it is." And I said, "Is it this?" And they were like, "How could you have possibly guessed that?" And I'm like,
TikTok?
"Because I read that interview."
Okay.
And I had the thought of that would be really funny.
Okay. Yeah. There's a bunch of wild shit about the intro that is, that's pretty funny. But also it's a Deadpool movie, so at this point, whatever's irreverent is also kind of expected. But no spoilers. Ultimately, you're like, hey, the previous Deadpool movies were pretty funny, so let's go see what Ryan Reynolds is up to this time. And all the promotional material of him harassing Hugh Jackman and stuff with him in the outfit and stuff, it seems like that's a funny enough reason to watch these characters and coming out in this way, as the MCU takes over, and as the you get the rated R, the rated R characters, right? Because there was a time where Deadpool blowing people's brains away and shit was like, oh my god, that's great. Like, I remember hearing people who did not know much about comic book movies or anything going like, oh yo, you gotta go see Deadpool, it's crazy, they actually swear and it's actually violent and fucking nuts. That was a thing at the time, right? So that novelty has definitely kind of worn off. So it's a bit of it is just like, okay, that's not going to land as much anymore or be any kind of surprising element. What else have you got, right? I'm it's going to be like, it's good enough for it to be funny, but there's an overall premise behind the film that is actually really, really worth it and good, that was very refreshing. And I will say that it's also interesting because I don't know how timeless, quote unquote, a lot of these movies will be. I know that I think Endgame, from rewatching parts of that over time, have been like, yo, I'll be able to watch this in the future and still really enjoy the best parts and what I love
Probably.
there. And Civil War as well. Like, there's some shit there that I'm like, yeah, I think that's rad.
Say that there is one. I'd say Civil War actually aged really badly.
Okay.
Like, really badly.
Okay.
Because what initially, the spectacle of that big conflict overwhelmed your senses. Now when you go back and look at that airport shit outside of its day one context, that airport scene is one of the ugliest fucking shot scenes in that whole movie franchise, and it's embarrassing.
Just because of CG stuff?
No, the fact that you have this titanic clash of all these heroes in essentially a Walmart parking lot.
Oh,
shot in the middle of the day with boring color grading.
Well, okay. I remember we talked about this a while ago, and I will say, I don't know how it went last time, but I'll say, to be fair, if they were having that Civil War fight in the middle of the city like assholes Superman, we would be going, what the fuck is wrong with you heroes destroying the city with your stupid squabble? Why don't you do this shit somewhere where people won't get hurt because you're heroes? Do you know what I mean?
I
You'd be
understand.
like, you guys should be fighting on Namek. What are you doing this in the city?
I think there are a wide variety of destinations that are empty of humans that you could have a big climactic film clash that aren't like the back lot of a Denny's visually.
Okay. So, for example,
I don't know,
on a crashing helicarrier.
Or in the desert where Goku and Vegeta hang out, or literally anything.
The floating island of Sokovia.
Yeah, sure.
That didn't go over too well. Either way, I'm thinking back on the parts of that I enjoyed, and I think I can go back and enjoy it. But all this to say that the Deadpool and Wolverine has definitely some nice fun tidbits that are going to be good for evergreen or whatever, but there are some hard bits that only work right now.
All right.
There are some hard bits about this movie that really, really only work now.
Like within the theatrical release.
Yes.
Period.
And this and some bits will not land anywhere near as good as they do if you catch it too late, I would say. So it's funny to go watch, and it's enjoyable, and it's just like the others. It'll tickle your fancy with some irreverent bullshit, and Deadpool being as wacky and fourth wall breaking as he always is. And you want to get your references to things because Ryan Reynolds loves being like, hey nerds, we're ready to wet your panties. He always has that bit.
Yeah.
So nerdgasm, etc. Yeah. That's all there. That's all fine. References, get your checklist out, But just in terms of like where we are in time right now, and the energy for where superhero movies are too. Kind of how the first Deadpool was like coming out and being very violent and kind of talk
and swear and talk about my penis,
etc. Whatever, and getting into that meta aspect. It does things here that I'm like, I really think this is the perfect vehicle. And last bit I'll say is just that, like, I also didn't know what the purpose and need for, like, again, this kind of movie would be, besides just like, more gags and stuff, although I enjoyed all the rest.
Well, I mean, I can see two purposes. One, Ryan Reynolds wants to make more movie than Passion of the Christ.
Yes.
Which he finally has.
Yes, the highest rated the highest R-rated grossing movie of all time. Yep.
So Paige and I recently actually watched Deadpool 2 just last week.
Yep.
She had not seen it and had a great time. That movie holds up really well. One of the first gags in the second movie is that, oh damn, the highest rated R movie ever, except for Jesus. Maybe next time.
Okay. Yeah. So this time literally does it. And that gag not only works for Deadpool 2, it works for this current movie's jokes as well. But yeah, there is just like the fact that Deadpool can fourth wall break allows for some proper scathing ass commentary on the state of affairs in the Marvel universe right now. And that's very appreciated and very welcome. So
okay, I have one question to ask.
Yeah.
Do they take a shot and poke fun at how hard can it be to make a Blade movie?
They absolutely take shots at that and more.
Right.
They take shots in all directions. Have gun, will shoot. Nobody's getting out unscathed. 1,000,000% yes.
Fantastic.
Right? The energy that, like, I think it's like basically Deadpool is saying what everybody's thinking right now, right now, today. So go catch it while you can. A lot of fun. And outside of that as well, while I was there, I don't want to get my hopes up, but there's, the trailers for stuff and everything. I saw a trailer they played for Alien Romulus. And I don't know. I haven't been paying attention. I've been pretty outside on a lot of Alien movies ever since Prometheus, I would say. But it looks pretty fucking good. And it's from the director of Don't Breathe, which was a very good movie. So I'm just like, hey, trailer for an Alien movie that looks like a straight Alien movie. Doesn't look like there's much, no frills. You're getting what you would expect, but everything I've seen in that trailer looks pretty good. I might be excited. I don't know. But I also, again, like, I really, Prometheus defeated me spiritually, and I have not been to see an Alien movie since then, and that's probably been about 10 years ago now or so.
Apparently, Covenant was also very bad.
Okay. So, yeah. It's hard hearing all that and being like, oh, maybe you should. But all I can say is, this was a moment of, it's Alien related. Oh, I'm gonna check out. And then by the time the trailer finished, I was like, huh, okay, let's see. Let's see.
Well, you have to remember that like the Alien film franchise is a film franchise filled with fucking terrible movies, and two of the best movies you've ever seen in your life.
Right. And
just surrounded by complete garbage.
And a license holder that needs an Alien product to be released at least every 2 to 4 years. Right? Like Aliens, Terminator, you know, these things, like there's a bit of a like, oh, they're always working on a new one, no matter what's going on. You know, there's like, and you can see it in the crossover frequency as well with some of this stuff. But yeah, as far as Alien goes, I did hear. I remember I didn't watch it, but I downloaded. Someone made an edit of Prometheus called Derelict that's supposedly like kind of like yeah, it makes it apparently makes it better and makes it more coherent. I'd be curious to check that out at some point. Kind of like no Jar Jar and the Phantom Edit or whatever. But I'm more than content to completely forget the Aliens franchise outside of like the occasional game that comes out, like Isolation, that's very good, for example.
Hey, an Alien movie wasn't very good. Can we re-edit it? Says people who are fans of most of the films in the movies franchise. That whole thing was fucked though. Like everything about Aliens becoming a film franchise was always going to lead to like doom, because it's like, hey, let's have the alien and outer space be a metaphor for sexual violence, and then like cast it with non-gendered speaking roles. Like the casting was non-gendered for all the roles.
Okay.
In Alien, because we really want to delve down into like what is essentially a horror movie as rape metaphor, right? And then James Cameron comes along and go, I have her hit that bitch with a robot fist. And I go, fuck yeah, she hit it with a fist. But then it was all downhill.
it was rad as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you know, if your first movie is that, then your second movie gets into your matriarchy representation, you know, and everything about that. It's fantastic. They're fucking incredible despite being super different from each other. But yeah, no, and the thing is too is like it's also more of a crossover franchise than it is its own franchise at this point. You know, like Terminator, like Predator, and these things where you're like, well, Terminator probably not, but
I don't know about that.
That
seems like
no. Do you not feel that like you're gonna see Alien, Predator, and Terminator kind of show up in versus things like a whole lot more than their own material? Sometimes
I don't view the 90s and aughts comics as meaningful of any use of any
because I remember that when Batman had to fight the aliens.
Yeah, no.
And I remember
the Predator and the Terminator, and he hangs out with the Ninja Turtles. That doesn't mean that I think of Ninja Turtles as a crossover franchise.
And I remember when I turned the page and I saw a Batarang in Spawn's face, and that's where the stitch down the middle of his face comes from. You know. And RoboCop versus the Terminator and all the, you know,
like when I think of RoboCop, I don't think about like fan favorite hung out with the Predator RoboCop. I think of Murphy and how sad he is that his wife left him. He's a robot.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm off. But I guess I'm like there are these franchises dance with each other all the time. They're willing to do crossovers, and the whole like commitment to things like Wayland coming from the Predator world and Yutani, or the other way around rather, Wayland coming from the Alien world and Yutani coming from the Predator world and stuff. You know, is like further deeper commitment to their backstories. That's some Akuma and Tekken type shit.
When you say it like this, I realize that I'm doing something mentally, and I don't know if that makes me insane or keeps me sane. If I'm watching Alien or Aliens, the only two movies that exist in the world at that time are Alien and Aliens.
Well,
There is no such thing as Alien Resurrection when I'm watching 76's Alien because it doesn't exist. Shut up.
I mean, unfortunately, that's not what IMDb has to say. But you're not wrong spiritually. You're going to get no argument from me, right? But the reason why I feel like these are crossover franchises is because most of the time I see them, it's in the context of a crossover occurring.
It's really wild that, like, with Alien, we were like, oh, can't we get the original director back? And now we're like, can you get Ridley Scott away from this?
I think the reason why Prometheus like bugged me deeper than everything was because it was fresh and unique enough of its own thing that it could have been, like, the potential was there.
Now get ready for the third act.
You know, like the whole, like, what if we just distanced ourselves and went, yeah, this is about space jockeys. Fuck it. We're not going to talk about the rest of it. Don't worry.
No, shut up though. Here it comes.
The potential is what bugged me, you know? Anyways, I mean, shit, man. The Predators are Capcom characters too. Like,
I think you know? From what I know of Covenant, they commit the ultimate movie sin of skipping past in the movie's prologue what would have been a much more interesting movie to get to the shitty movie you're about to watch.
Oh, damn. The thing in the crawl of text is more interesting than where you actually start.
Oh,
that sucks.
For me, of Covenant?
No, I don't know anything about Covenant.
I'm going to spoil the first 10 minutes of Alien Covenant. All right, everybody? I'm giving you the warning. So at the end of Prometheus, they go, we're going to find where these engineers live and we're going to get them. And then the first 10 minutes of Covenant is they show up on their planet and they just dump a bunch of alien juice on them and genocide the whole planet.
Wow. And that's the end of that.
Yeah.
That's the Prometheus tie-in.
That's the intro of that movie.
Jockey's over.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Holy shit.
That is like, I would,
God.
if I had seen that, like, I never bothered to go see it, but had I done so, I would have walked up and left. I was like, I would have liked to see the movie where they go to that planet and anything.
See, yeah, also I'm remembering now Michael Fassbender did a really good job too, right?
Yeah, he did.
He was really good.
Yeah.
Man.
He did such a good job that they wanted him to become the most important character in Alien ever.
Well, anyway. Yeah, so this new one from Don't Breathe Guy might be good. Might be
cool. I saw the trailer while we were talking, and it's a really cool visual shot of somebody shining a flashlight on their chest, and you can see the thing in under the ribcage.
Yeah, that's a really good shot. Yeah, chest buster.
Don't like that.
I think kind of like Predators. There's a bit of a like because. Because I'm thinking of people. I remember hearing like people saying like, "Oh man," I remember hearing from people that loved Covenant. They were just like, "Yeah, there's some great kills," and so people basically saying, "Man, there's some real wipeouts in this movie. Love some good wipeouts."
Oh, man.
Like that energy where it's like I'm not paying attention to anything except for what the scary alien is doing at any given moment in time. But if the game or if the movie is attempting to create some sort of overarching narrative or connection to other pieces and make a larger story about the origins of where all these things come from, then that shit sucks if it's done poorly. And even if you're like, I don't care about it, it doesn't matter. It's there and it sucks, right? And that's what Prometheus essentially is. Predators was like, hey, fucking whatever. We're zooming in as close as you can to this one story here with a threat that you're familiar with, but that threat is not even really sure how to do its job. And everything is just low tech, like fucking basic. And I think this new trailer as well kind of gives that vibe off of like, yeah, never mind the larger thing. We're just going to tell a small scale story, and perhaps that is enough to make something good because you don't have to worry about the fuck ups on a grand scale.
It's fascinating the amount of dots that just connected, because you said predators.
Yes.
And I'm like, because of the Ghoul, we've been watching a lot of Walton Goggins stuff. And then I'm remembering Walton Goggins was in Predators. And then I'm like, wait, Walton Goggins is the guy who got that dude you knew in trouble at work.
He says the line.
Yeah.
5 o'clock. Right.
What time is it?
Yeah.
What time is it?
You know, I mean, okay, did he get in? I guess technically he got in trouble if I was the supervisor and I went, hey, dude, you need to chill because nobody knows what you're referencing.
Nobody knows, and you're just being an insane person right now.
Yes. If you can, everyone, you can hit Google and search for your Predators.
If I type
5 o'clock.
If I type in Walton Goggins, what time is it? Is that gonna
Predators? What time is it? Is probably good enough, you know. Anyways, for anyone who didn't hear the story, someone I was working with on pretty much like his first or second day working in QA, just started saying that line out loud, and I was his compliance manager next to him, and I'm like, I know what you're getting at. And I know what you're referencing, but no one else in this office knows what you're referencing. So that's a crazy thing to say.
You really need to stop.
You can't just say that out loud on day 2 at fucking right. Like I know, I've seen the movie. I know, but what the fuck, man. Anyways, yes. So that was that. We'll see. We'll see what this movie has, and the little. I don't know if it's been desecrated in the other movies, but the alien font fading in with the lines slowly.
Nah, it's a good gimmick.
It's a good bit.
You can't fuck it up.
Yeah, it's a really good bit. You know, the lines coming in. Like, I don't know if they fucked it up in the other bad ones, but
they all just kind of do it, and it's good.
It's great. I really like that. I love how the alien logo fades in. Great stuff. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Petanque, Rivals, and Deadpool and Wolverine. Gonna be streaming a sponsored stream this week. We got Mecha Break tomorrow, so check that out.
Can you get me a code for that? I don't need a sponsorship. I just want to play it.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, I'll see what's possible. I mean,
Wait, hold on.
Might have to go hand in hand with a sponsorship potentially, but
I mean, that game seems cool.
It looks extremely cool. It's definitionally high-speed robot action, and that has my interest written all over it. Not to mention, as I've mentioned before, the mecha designers working on it are Ishigaki and Yanase, who are some of the designers behind fucking Xenogears, Metal Gear, Death Stranding tech, some Gundam stuff. Like, there's a lot of great work they've done. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, check it out tomorrow. We'll be streaming that on Tuesday. And then we're making some big progress in Yakuza. We're mainlining that plot as hard as possible, and Elden Ring as well. So that's all going to be continuing. Oh, and I just a quick shout out for 2 games on Fisticuffs. Fisticuffs, yeah, on Get Into Fighting Games.
It's been years. I still make the same mistakes.
It is what it be. I played SVC Chaos, which has now been ported by Code Mystics over onto Steam. Hey, guess what? They got rollback working in KOF Ultimate Match 98 and 2002 and Sam Show 5. And so they just went and said, hey, we're going to drop a new ROM in there, and that ROM is SVC Chaos. So if you ever wanted to go see some wild dialogue and some sprites of Capcom.
Want to see some Mars people action.
Mm-hmm. And Capcom characters drawn in the SNK style. Yeah, go play this game. It's fucking, again, 19 characters or Shotos out of like 30 or whatever. But wild shit. And a proper shout out to an indie fighting game called Dojo Masters. Super hype. Lots of fun. Real. It's the one I talked about that I played at EVO. that was where there was a pixel fighter, no jumping, and like the boxer makes counter hits exist in the game. When you don't pick boxer, there's no counter hits and things like that. Yeah, so we played a lot of that and like had some fun. Go check that out. That's going to be coming out this week as well. Just a really simple but good game that has like 3 styles of character, 6 rather, martial arts that fight each other, and each fundamentally changes the game in a very drastic way when you play as them or pick them. So Dojo Masters is what it is. So yeah, Wooly Versus on YouTube and on Twitch. What's going on?
All right, let's see what I do this week. So I'm gonna try and get through this as quickly as possible. I played more Fallout London. Fallout London is incredible. Fallout London is a genuinely brand new Fallout game, with one caveat, and that is it is a brand new Fallout game, just like all the others. Which means after 3 or 4 streams, I hit a part where I was trapped inside a dungeon and had to no-clip my way out into the collision so I could escape.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I should wait for this a little bit.
Nice. In addition to there's dog noises and the other things you mentioned last week.
It needs a little more time in the oven. It's extremely impressive, but it needs just a little more time in the oven, I think. But it'll get there. I spoke with somebody and they say the updates are coming. Let's see. So we finished Righteous Gemstones entirely.
Oh yeah, okay.
Righteous Gemstones has 3 current seasons. And it is a real like treat to finish the 3rd season of something. And in the time it takes between you pulling out your phone and finding out that they're filming a 4th season right now, and not knowing if there is going to be a 4th season. Yeah, no, you could just end it right there and that would be great. This would be great. You could just do it. It would be fine. It would be great. Now, I do want to see more Uncle Baby Billy.
Is it would be great?
My favorite character.
Is it that it would be great, or is it that more would ruin it?
No, it's just it ends on a perfect note.
On a good note. Okay.
So with that out of the way, we're like, well, Danny McBride worked with Walton Goggins on a project right before Righteous Gemstones, which is the prototype for Righteous Gemstones, called Vice Principals. So we dug into that.
Okay.
And it's the Righteous Gemstones, but they're Vice Principals instead.
Okay.
It's Danny McBride.
So I mean, you know what?
There's a bunch of actors from Righteous Gemstones that are there.
Can you really even hate it? Can you blame him? Like, it's like if Adam Sandler is like, I'm gonna get me and my friends paid by just fucking doing whatever with me and my friends making money for Netflix because they're just like, yeah, go make stuff. If Danny McBride is like, it's gonna be me in different jobs, just being me.
Yeah, no. Listen, I'm gonna be Danny McBride, okay, and I'm gonna play American Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys in literally every single thing I do.
Sure. Yes.
And I'm gonna be like a complete asshole and talk like an idiot, and then Walton Goggins will be there and he will act like a huge cunt, and we're gonna go on adventures that escalate wildly outside of the context of the show. We're gonna it's about vice principals being mad at the administration. Okay, let's just escalate this to right before you would turn it off because that's just too ridiculous.
Yes, like at what point does Kenny Powers almost kick a child in the chest? You know? Right? Yes.
Real early.
Because that's the only place to go. That's it.
Like Paige and I are sitting there and we're watching like I think the 2nd episode. We was go, this has gone too far. This is too much. It's great. It's fantastic. We're about almost done the 1st season. Only 2 seasons because it got canceled, I think. I think it died.
Okay.
Let's see what else. Yesterday was a horrible fucking day.
Oh.
Yesterday was such a horrible fucking day that it becomes a story. So first thing off, I lost my wedding ring.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I've lost a little bit of weight. And so my finger fats
Oh my God.
are not as good as they usually are for keeping my wedding ring on my hand. Now, that was a bummer. I was very upset.
Oh, fuck.
Luckily, my amazingly incredible, talented, perfect wife was like, I'm just going to go in the sink, you idiot. It's obviously going to be in the sink. And found it in the sink.
And it was in the sink.
It was in the sink.
Oh my God. Okay.
It was in the sink.
Okay.
Because today is the day of truth, you see. So I don't know if you remember me using the phrase the day of truth a little while ago, but that was on my birthday, in which I said for my birthday, I was gifted a day of truth in which, and I could just say whatever the fuck I wanted and didn't have to tone it down for human reasons. Well, today is Paige's day of truth. Today is Paige's birthday.
Happy birthday,
I love you.
Paige. Hey.
But Paige has changed the rules of the day of truth. Paige's day of truth is everything she says will come true. So she said, I'm going to go find your ring. And then she found it.
Okay. Those are somewhat different terms there.
They're a little different.
Okay, hey, well, that's.
I'm being instructed that I should probably explain. So I was really upset yesterday. I was like on the verge of tears for most of the day because I lost the ring. And when my wife was like, "Why are you so upset? It's just a ring." I was like, "Because you're going to die." You see, the ring is a symbol. And the symbol is marriage.
Okay, so
and marriage is till death do you part.
Let's go. How old were you when young Pat fucking just cemented
35?
some insane idea that
no, listen. If the ring is gone, then it's gonna die. It's like when a bird gets in the house.
No, Pat.
It's like when a bird gets in the house.
The ring symbolizes no beginning and no end. So if you lose the ring, it's fine. It's if the ring breaks.
Anyway, the point is Paige found the ring, so she's okay. That's the takeaway here. Okay. But that wasn't the only thing that happened.
For the record, as someone who has fluctuated in weight greatly and has faced this problem quite a bit, and the resizing issue has always been like, okay, but where is it going? What are my fingers going to be at? Is it in a state where it's not going to come flying off my finger, or it's not going to be too tight? That's why I've got it.
Oh, you run rocked
exactly. So it's just
I should probably move to that. Yeah,
because there's been one or too many times where I'm just like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
That you know.
But here's the problem is that I like to have it on my hand and tap it on things
like an engineer.
Because then I can be like, still married.
So that you don't fuck up that bridge you have to build.
Yeah. So let's go back in time. So a couple days ago, a friend of Paige's, she came over and they were, while I was doing a stream, and they're a girl chatting, blah, 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 and hanging out with the baby, right? But they were supposed to go yard sailing Saturday morning, right? Which is, garage sale.
Looking for
it's garage sale season, right? Okay. But we wake up in the morning and our friend texts us, "Hey, can't make it. Terrible migraine. Just woke up with it. Can't go." Right? It's like, well, that's kind of a bummer and like kind of a bummer of a start to the weekend because I don't give a fuck about yard sailing. I don't give a shit. I'll go, but I'll just stand there and just kind of be bored because I don't care about people's knickknacks.
Yeah. Hanging out with folks that were hunting for their Transformers toys aggressively at garage sales means that I'm good with garage sales, I think, forever.
Yeah, okay. And so the day goes on and we have a great day and things are fine until about 7 o'clock. And my poor little guy is not doing so great. He's fussy when he isn't usually. He won't eat, which is normally not a problem. And we had just a really, really horrible time getting him to bed, which is really, really out of character for him, including having like a low-grade fever. Nothing crazy, nothing like hospital-y, but like he's not feeling his best. And this really took a turn in the next morning when we received the follow-up text that migraine was in fact COVID. And the baby totally has COVID, and I probably have COVID, and Paige probably has COVID. And of note is that early text message, the migraine one, Paige reached out and was like, "Oh, is it just a headache, or is anything else going on?"
Mm-hmm.
And we were left on red for an entire day. So as a bonus, despite it being Paige's day of truth and her birthday, Fancy Restaurant is out. The one that I planned for weeks to go to and all of our things. Apparently our friend had cold symptoms in addition to her migraine, but didn't feel the need to put that into a text message, which would have been very helpful.
So it seems like the current variant going around is significantly milder than the ones of previous years, which is, you know, a blessing and a curse, because yay, it's nowhere near as bad as it was, but also
but it runs into this situation
people are
where
not as people are like more willing to just tank it and be like, oh, that's actually nothing, it's fine.
You mean like how that evening we all took a family trip to the grocery store?
Wow.
Like,
yeah.
We did the due diligence. Go, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Is it just a headache? And got nothing. So why would we immediately jump to the conclusion that, I
mean, for what it's worth, you know, like it like in terms of the official protocols and stuff are basically just like, hey, how you feel? You're all right, whatever, right? So it's at that level on like officially, but
then the other part is just like, you know, we did our due diligence, and that us going to the grocery store could have been avoided, right? Maybe not us getting sick or whatever, but seriously, you could have just said extra words and things would be better. But dude, having a sick baby sucks. It's miserable because he's unhappy and there's not a whole lot you can do for him, right? You can change him, you can rock him, you can take him for walks, you can, you know, try. But if his head hurts, it hurts. But like, yeah, you were saying of like, yeah, it's milder.
Yes.
But that leads to, oh, you know, I'm just coming down with it a little. It's not
exactly.
a big deal. It's like,
that.
No, my baby's sick now.
That's exactly the thing, right? It's
a big fucking deal.
The hit is going to be much less than it once was, but it's going to result in people being less like fucking chill about that. And you know, the thing is like, I mean, not everybody did it, I guess, but just like the times when in the past you're like, oh, I have the flu, I'm coming down with the flu or something, let me not go into work to give that to people, was a very normal, reasonable thing to say, you know? So anything that is like approaching that, you would hope that the person would start feeling something and be like, oh, let's just be on the safe side, you know? But yeah, that's that fucking sucks, man. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so I'll put out a stream schedule for the week. That stream schedule may be highly variable, depending on how that goes. Because right now I feel completely fine. And the only one that's really miserable is the baby. But who knows? I should also mention that, like, you know, Paige has lupus. She has an autoimmune disorder. The friend knows that. They know that. So we're like, hey, you got to be careful. It's an immunocompromised household. They're like, absolutely, I totally understand.
Yeah.
You don't understand, actually.
We're now in a world where, I mean, basically everyone's playing on their own discretion, and some people's discretion sucks. It's
also of note in terms of like how it's going in my neighborhood. I went to go down to get COVID tests and they're out.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
they're super available, more than usual around this side, but
yeah, well, I guess my block is going through it or whatever. So it's not guaranteed, but yeah, we'll see. So unfortunately, Paige's birthday will have to be postponed. And because we can't go to a restaurant and get everybody sick. I mean, we could, but we'd be fucking pricks to do so. Let's see. What else did I do this fucking week? No. I have to go to the video producer to find. It's so stupid.
I think as well the current one. It's like a lot of. It's like 3 days, of feeling shit as opposed to like 10, or whatever. Like things are reduced in intensity and in length. So
yeah. So Paige got a bunch of stuff for. She got a bunch of these turmeric and lemon juice.
Turmeric
like things. And it was kind of goofy because I don't fucking know. Just elixir potions.
I was doing turmeric when I was getting my shit together. Yeah.
But so we had some, and I was like, well, I didn't feel sick before, but I feel better now. Like, yeah, no, we should probably have more turmeric.
Yeah. So fun fact. If you're getting on this train, because it's like part of me as well, like trying to do whatever, like the health, weight loss, etc., was trying to get some better shit in my system. And turmeric was a part of that for sure. My mom is as the fucking elixir home remedy lady that she is, she's always like, oh, you got to grab some moringa root and this and that and cider vinegar and honey and so on. And there's a bunch of times where I'm like, what fucking conjuring bullshit are you coming up with? But then there's times where I'm like, oh my god, it actually works. And years ago I talked about charcoal powder.
Yes.
And how crazy and insane it is to have black powder poured into water, and like you're like, really? And it actually like in seconds made you feel better. And I'm like, yeah, it's real. It's super duper real. That, right? With so turmeric, in particular, like, yeah, you get your really, really spicy kind of like, it burns, It's basically like a type
burns a little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit of a curry that you're gonna kind of like burn with. But they have turmeric gummies that you can get that are actually pretty tasty. It's a little gummy with a hint of that kick on it, and it's candy. And it's like, oh, I actually kind of like having these in the morning, and stuff. So, yeah, if you can get your hands on some of those for your turmeric, that's a lot better. Because I was going to, there was like a health store that sold like shots, and it was like, oh, you can buy a round of shots for like a week or whatever. And those are just like literally like downing a whiskey. Like you're just like, afterwards. So, yeah, anyway, consider it.
So, what else of note? Let me go back to that page I just had open. Why can't I remember anything? Oh my god! Do you want to talk about Visions of Mana?
Oh yeah, that's you. How is that? How was that?
Fucking.
What's going on with that?
No. That's where that's at. Okay. So, Visions of Mana failed the like button test for me. Where like I loaded it up and I walked forward and fought like an enemy for like 10 seconds, and I was like, I'm not going to do this.
Damn it.
This feels like shit.
I want to be sold on Mana. I have told the story about how I did not enjoy in the past. I bounced off hard. I would love for there to be a sell point here. That sucks. Okay, so it
feels like garbage.
Responsive, just walking around right away.
Yeah, no, it's not responsive. It's super floaty. Nothing has any hit reaction. It's just
okay.
There's demo. You can go out try that demo.
Okay.
And tell me that feels like a fast, responsive game, and lie if you want. You could do that. Let's see. I also played 45 minutes of a game called Click Holding. Have you seen Click Holding?
Click Holding?
Yeah, hold on. Before you look that up,
Yeah.
let me get you the title of click holding, shall I? Yeah, let me.
Visions of Mana's $80.
Oh, yeah, bro. So yeah, let me just get you this game title for you, and I'm gonna you just get that logo burned right in your brain here.
Click holding.
Yeah, it's about click holding.
Yes, click holding. Yes.
Yes.
The L and the I are very close together.
They are, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. That font choice is very particular.
It's very deliberate. You know what? I'll just send you another screenshot, which is like 99% of the game's content.
The man in the corner of your hotel room wants you to click something. He wants to watch you click it.
So you just have one of those like
I see.
Like tally counters.
Okay.
You have to click with the space bar or the mouse button.
So does this like start on like, is the main menu just Craigslist or?
No, the main menu is just like a very plain.
Okay.
And you get in there and he's like, hey, do you want the money? We'll keep clicking. And the game is to click it from 0 to 10,000. But sometimes he'll tell you to stop clicking it and go move to a different part of the room, or have the heat turned on or off, or open up the blinds, or not look at him, or definitely look at him while mashing the space bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like it. But the purpose is obviously very clear.
Mm-hmm.
That is to emulate you doing something for money that you don't want to do, and the weird, uncomfortable nonsense that those types of people are going to engage with you.
Now, this art style seems to show a weird man with no real face.
That's a mask, by the way.
Is it a mask? I was okay. Gotcha. Is there a Superman outfit anywhere near?
No,
the game?
I guess you're wearing it.
First person.
The moment that I went from ugh to I get it was when the dude starts talking about how he used to click, but he can't click anymore. And he can't click it like you can click it. And I'm just like, and I had the moment in my head where I'm mashing on the space bar as fast as I can. And I'm like, just shut up. I don't care about this. I just want to get it over with. And I was like, oh wow, you implanted the emotion into that. Wow, good. Oh, you did
that. That was me playing Neon White, and it's getting to the fucking yandere dialogue about her spitting in your mouth or whatever, and I'm just like, we need to just get to the next Mirror's Edge level, please just get to the game. For the love of God. Yeah, 100%. Nailed it. This title needs to be typed out in all caps, I've noticed. It doesn't really work in lowercase.
The game's about 40 minutes long. I know this because I set up my controller to have turbo.
Wow.
And that makes it go much faster.
So how did this end up on the list to begin with? What
part of the wheel.
Okay. All right. The goal of which was to produce this outcome.
The goal of which is to just throw absolute nonsense into the stream.
Yep. Okay.
The person who recommended it will never get to recommend anything else on that wheel ever again.
Is that how that works?
That is not how it works. It's how it works now.
I mean, you could always allow them to submit games to the wheel that you then never ever play, and they're just forced to watch you never play them.
Nah, that'd be cheating. That'd be cheating.
Well, but maybe they would enjoy the act of not playing or not being able to watch you play the game that they want.
Nah, the people who've been suggesting games have like paid in on those games.
Oh,
that would be like legitimately immoral.
Yeah, it would. But unless the person was willing to pay to watch you not play the game that they want you
that's weird
to play, you see?
Nah,
they might actually enjoy the fact that they are putting money on the line and you're still not playing the game that they paid for.
Oh my god, actually that did happen. I just realized somebody in the chat, Blastio Boots, pointed out that they kicked in a donation not to add it to the wheel, but just for me to go to the Steam page of a game, look at it and go, oh my god, I'm not putting that on the fucking wheel. And they were right. I saw it and I was like repulsed. Awful. It was a game about math. Ugh, horrible. Terrible. So that's it for me. This week's gonna be Dishonored, a couple indie games I'm thinking of, The Wheel, and another React stream. Though those may change depending on if people in the household are violently incapacitatorily ill.
Hopefully not.
Go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. I will gladly come up here a little sweaty, but not too sweaty.
I mean, you can, I guess it's pit stain check, right? Like, that's the level of, if you're.
For me, is there literally a sweat droplet coming off the side of my face?
Okay.
Like that to me, that's visible. Like, this is too far. I will not.
Okay. Cool. All right. Quick bathroom break.
Yeah, let's do a quick bathroom break.
BRB. All right. Quick word from our sponsors.
I love sponsors.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Raycon. The deal with wires is that they're terrible.
Yo, hey, you know what else? Wooly, you see I have a haircut now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, guess what? Look at that dent.
I can... Is that a headphone dent?
It sure is, man.
What?
I got a deep old headphone dent in my brain.
Oh, no. Ah, Jesus Christ.
I got one of them gamer dents.
Folks, let this be a lesson to you that you need to get wireless. You need to get wireless headphones, wireless earbuds in your life. The Raycon best-selling everyday earbuds are a perfect example of how you can get the wires out of your life and avoid head dent. It can happen to you.
If I had more hair, I might be able to cover it up, but I sure don't.
That's crazy. That's wild. I mean, all the symptoms of head dent aside, Raycon's everyday earbuds have active ergonomic design, multi-point connectivity, so you can pair two devices at once, and active noise cancellation, which is awesome. The ability to switch between two devices is super crucial because, like, yeah, sometimes it's like I want it hooked up to my phone, or sometimes I want it hooked up to, you know, the tablet or the computer, whatever the case is, and not having to reconnect and disconnect each time by just having it pick between the one that is currently playing sound means you can just bypass that entire process. It's super useful. And yeah, of course, you've got the active noise cancellation ability that, like I said, you know, Punch Bomb's using those on a regular basis. It's great for dealing with, you know, I don't know, snoring, anything like that.
Who would snore? Who would do such a thing?
That'd be terrible. That'd be crazy. What a jerk off. And yeah, you got tons of colors you can pick from as well to complement you and whatever your tastes are. So get in there. 32-hour battery life, quick charge function. It takes 10 minutes to charge 90 minutes of battery. That is awesome. And, you know, besides the multi-point connectivity and the noise cancellation, you've got awareness mode and weatherproofing, sweat resistant, all those things that are perfect for, taking with you and not worrying about the condition of them. So if that sounds good to you, get in on some of these. They've got a 30-day happiness guarantee for easy returns as well. So go to buyraycon.com/superbeast today to get 20 to 40% off site-wide. That's right, you'll get up to 40% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/superbeast. That's BUYRAYCON.com/superbeast. Avoid headphone dent today.
Thanks, Raycon.
Thank you.
My brain's getting smaller.
But only in the parts that are at the top, which govern your goblin regulation.
Oh man,
that's the part that's getting dented.
It's the weakest part already.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by ExpressVPN. You need a VPN. You need a VPN to protect yourself when you're connecting to some kind of dodgy, sketchy Wi-Fi in a place where you can't really trust what is happening. Should I provide a metaphor?
No.
Going online without ExpressVPN is like not closing the door when you use the bathroom.
Oh, man.
If you think you have nothing to hide, that's fine, but why give random creeps a chance to invade your privacy? Now...
Wait, like not in your own house, like a Starbucks is like the metaphor here, right?
Certainly. Because
I didn't let random creeps into my house.
But it gets worse. It can get worse, though. There's other situations that are possible. For example, Going online without ExpressVPN, you know what else it's like?
What's it like, man?
It's like forgetting to mute yourself on a Zoom meeting. Do you really want your coworkers to hear you trash talking them?
Oh, dude,
talking all that shit.
I was on the wrong microphone once with a German spy stream, and everybody heard me go to the bathroom.
That's you really don't want that.
Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. I felt pretty mortified about it.
Right? You know, some might say it's like going to the airport without a lock. Who knows how many creeps are going to look through your private stuff? You know? They're scanning. They can see what's in there. But the point is you want to make sure that you have your protection. So even if you have nothing to hide, you don't want to get undressed with your window curtains wide open. Why chance it? You know? You don't want to have that 12-year-old on the McDonald's Wi-Fi connecting and taking all and taking your identity,
stealing my passwords.
Nor do you want your ISP selling your data, and nor do you want your streamer telling you that you can't watch It's Always Sunny or whatever you can't watch because you're currently not in America, for example, or if you are, which you can't watch elsewhere. So yeah, that's what comes in handy when you get a VPN, and using ExpressVPN is secure. It's 100% routed. Your traffic is 100% routed through secure encrypted servers. So yeah, you have all that protection. You can do it at the router level as well, so that anyone who's connecting to your device can be covered. Hides your IP address, easy to use, works on all your devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more. You click a button and it's taken care of, and it's rated #1 by tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. So protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/superbeast. That's expressvpn.com/superbeast, and you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/superbeast. All right. Thanks, ExpressVPN.
Thanks, ExpressVPN.
All right, what's going on?
I don't know how much of the stuff that's on my brain is on your page. Let's find out.
I mean, there's a good amount of stuff. I mean, in particular, you want to talk about your main characters, and kind of like how sometimes there's the main character of Twitter. Well, that doesn't really happen these days because the main character is forever Elon Musk from now on. But the main character of video games, at the very least this week,
leave the election fraud on the side and get back to video games.
Yeah. One CEO, Pete Parsons, is
noted massive piece of shit.
So it's funny because the first thing I had heard about this was that his tweet announcing the mass layoffs at Bungie on his page, the tweet underneath it was the exact same tweet from 1 year prior.
With the other mass layoffs.
So, that's always a good sign.
Second, is this the same guy who bought $2.3 million of classic cars right before the last batch of layoffs?
25 cars. In fact,
wow.
The cool thing, those cars are so cool that you should come check them out. You should come to my place and see them. They're really, really cool cars, you guys. Is what he said 2 days before firing the people that he was flossing his new cars to. So, yeah, there basically has been a mass layoff at Bungie. They've gone from 1,300 employees to about 850.
This includes restructuring around enough that Luke Smith, who's the former gameplay lead, I think, or director, and then the senior narrative guy and most of their music team are gone now.
Of those who were fired, there's also about 155 others that are going to be moved to a new company within Sony to finish working on a codenamed project or so. But yeah, it's a particularly this one's been all neat and tidy, because in addition to the shit like that where Sam Bartley, who worked for Bungie, came out afterwards and basically was explained that this you did this, you chose this, listed as do not work with, and I don't care anymore. You invited me to see your new cars 2 days before you laid me off. So people are like going, hey, CEO, fucking, how about you leave? And a number of other people that were a part of that also are basically going, there's shit that can't be discussed publicly, but this dude's a liar, a thief, and so many other worse things that can't be said. This isn't on Sony. This is squarely on the failure of leadership, plain and simple. Calling for Pete Parsons to step down.
So let's go down the list of things that have happened here. So
a year ago,
people are talking about right away, like before we even know. So people at Bungie are being interviewed under anonymity, and they're saying, yeah, so I don't know how the fuck anybody got $3.6 billion for this company. We were never worth that much. The only way that would make any sense is if, I don't know, the CEO were telling Sony crazy ass impossible shit that was never going to happen. And then people come out and go, he was telling Sony crazy ass impossible shit that was never going to happen. And based off that crazy shit, Sony made a deal with Bungie that said, hey, you got to hit these targets or we'll kind of absorb you guys a little bit because it would mean you don't know how to run your company, and we'll take over. And Pete goes, fuck, we're not going to hit those fucking targets. How can I make the number go up just enough to keep control over the company? I don't know how. Layoffs. Now, I know Sony just gave the company a payout specifically to avoid layoffs. But the only way to maintain control of Bungie is that if I take that layoff payment money and then also lay people off, then it'll look like the company made just enough money so I could keep it for another year. And then
cars. Question mark. Cars.
And then more layoffs. And then I think the part of this that's... Oh, sorry.
Question. Hi. So Diana Voyer, I believe, Bungie employee. Question, Pete. Have leadership considered taking pay cuts in order to prevent...
We're not that kind of company. We're not that kind of company. Okay? We're just not that kind of company.
Because, you know, if the money came from the people who are currently giving themselves bonuses...
We're not doing that. We don't do that here. That's not the way we do things.
Gotcha. Thanks. All right. Cool.
And so now we're here. So Beyond Light didn't do very well, the last expansion. And so they got layoffs because they couldn't hit their numbers. Final Shape,
couldn't be us.
Final Shape, despite all the pressure and the layoffs, Final Shape was received well, sold well, was kind of a slam dunk. Here's some more layoffs. And after this comes the Bungie statement explaining, listen, we're super committed to Destiny going forward. Now, we're no longer going to do expansions, but we are going to do bi-yearly content updates that are going to be a little smaller. Now, we won't commit to just how much smaller in any way, but Destiny is basically over.
It's
now.
It's over. Now the thing is that that's kind of what it fucking sounds like. Keeping the 850 employees around, if anything happens, again, Sony gets first option to again reshuffle and move those people around as they are employees of Sony,
Mm-hmm.
behind being employees of Bungie.
Now remember, Sony bought Bungie or did this deal because Sony ordered 10 live service games and Bungie was supposed to be the torch in the darkness that leads Sony's live service division. And then they canceled all of those except for, I think, Concord. Do you remember, this was a long time ago, but I went on this little rant about how every game wants to be a games as a service like Destiny. Like in every interview, it's like, we want to be like Destiny. We want to chase after Destiny's success. Like Destiny was often name dropped, right?
Okay.
And I went on the podcast and we were talking and I was like, I don't think Destiny makes any money. I think Destiny is like actually a dismal failure because they always talk about development on that game like they're broke. Right? Like there's never enough time and whatever. And I was informed very angrily by people in the chat and on social media that actually Destiny brings in tons of money. And it's wildly successful for Bungie and that the success of that is worthy to chase. Except for interviews that I've been seeing over the past week where people are like, oh, we were totally going to go bankrupt if we didn't get that Sony deal. We were on the verge of bankruptcy. We were absolutely going to go under if Sony didn't buy us.
Okay. Yeah. So like there's apparently a trail because you can look at everything happening now and look back to a year ago and see how things went to see the exact same thing playing out 12 months later. And one of the details as well for the people who were fired a year ago was that they were given their 3-month severance and their health benefits and such as part of their package. Yeah. But anyone who received stock from the Sony purchase but has not yet vested it, apparently it just disappears and returns back to the company. So
cool.
There are stocks that are promised to these people who have been laid off that essentially are just being stolen back from them. So,
the CEO is looting the company. He's literally just tearing the company into his own pocket.
So anybody who's are in the current round as well is equally getting fucked over by that element too. So yeah, that's the nature.
I would be surprised if Sony didn't something with this because Sony got fucked on this. like they horribly overpaid for a company and then the company was like disintegrated by the guy they bought it from before they got it.
But Your Honor, we were going to present evidence of all of his misdeeds, but then he privated his account.
Oh, did he?
So we can't see it anymore, so we don't know. We can't we all the evidence is gone.
It's
yeah. This is a particularly rough one in the sense that like the amount of people that are just like, yep, can't speak, NDAs, but make no mistake, this is on one dude. It's very clear who, and it's the guy who's tweeting out pictures of his cars. That's the fucker. Don't even think for a second this is coming from Sony above, you know.
There's more in all of this of particular note. You're familiar with the term new player experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the onboarding experience when you get into a gas game. So, you remember when Destiny vaulted like its first 2 years of stuff?
Oh,
that
yes,
was like
taking down the shit that was...
it took it down. So now when you start the game, you do like one mission and it just like drops you into the hub and just like goes go. And it's one of the most incomprehensible new player experiences ever. Like I've seen lots of people like download it for free and just go, what the fuck? What? During all of this, it came out that internally they had one shot at redeveloping the onboarding and then it didn't work, so they gave up. And it just never came up again. And then later on in that interview, It's like, yeah, all of our players are much older now. All of our concurrent users are much older. So we really want to make new properties that skew younger. And it's like they're older because it's the people who got in before you couldn't get in anymore. The people who play Destiny right now are the people who started playing Destiny back when you could start playing Destiny.
Man, this is just in terms of game legacy. It's just rough that it's like, hey, how's Halo doing? Oh, okay. How's Destiny? Okay, cool. And Marathon. It's just
like yo.
Yeah. That is a fucking shame for a storied ass company, you know.
Also, so like maintenance mode for a long-term game does not necessarily mean a bad thing, right? FF11 is out there in its maintenance mode, and FF11's just got a bunch of shit, and people go, I'd like to play FF11. I got friends that jump on FF11 every now and then, right? It's got like 10 years of shit to fuck around with, right? The problem with Destiny's maintenance mode is that like they still never put back all that shit they vaulted. So like half the game is just there.
There's no semi-annual whatever rotation.
No, it's just like hey, Destiny's going into maintenance mode. Do you want to play the second half of Destiny 2?
Fucking weird.
So fucking stupid.
Yeah. So, it seems as if, you know, no one can really make anything happen here except for, I suppose, Sony, depending on how this plays out with them. But something else that people are basically saying as well is just like, dude, get the fuck out, because we all know you've got, like, he's got a golden parachute deal as well. And, you know, if he ever did choose to leave, what he would get for it could buy a fuck ton of cars. Actually, it'd be incredible. It'd be great.
Yeah, but what if I stole more money out of the company and then also got that golden?
That is how you do. That is how you get all the cars. It is true. You know. Yeah. So good stuff. Good stuff happening over there. Good shit, Pete Parsons. Well done.
Hey, you know what? Congratulations to Warframe. Under Rebecca Ford's stewardship, it continues to exist. Yeah. What a metric, huh?
Remember the first time you saw that graphic with like the Traveler? And I was like, ooh, look at that cool thing.
Cool.
That looks cool. Yeah. All right. Well,
do you know how you actually find out what happened with the Traveler in parts of that game that you didn't see anymore?
No.
You have to go to Biff's YouTube channel and watch his like Vati style lore breakdowns. Like, it's literally the only way now.
I'm half expecting you to be like the official like onboarding like tutorial links to YouTube videos.
You would think that the Destiny YouTube channel would have those.
Oh my god.
No. No.
Wow. All right. Well, not just Bungie, but you know, because considering we're still resetting the clock over here.
I need one more. I need one more. Okay, there's a character that they brought back to life in, I think, one expansion ago, in which every single thing in that character's like story and his death and the guy that killed him are no longer available.
You just can't. You can't possibly know.
No, you can't. It's gone.
That's so insane. That's so insane.
Oh, I'm being informed they put his death back in? Oh, that's great. My mistake.
Like live service? Oh my god. I mean, like, is it because by vaulting all that stuff, it's not going to feel like, do they want new players to be like, oh, it's not that intimidating because there's I can't follow the logic here.
Here's what actually happened. When they made Destiny and Destiny 2 the first couple of years, they made it their engine shit was very inefficient, and they then since learned how to make levels a lot better, so they would take up less space and they would be less buggy. So what they said is, hey, we're going to make all these new things, and as we go forward, we're going to vault that old stuff, and then when we have extra time after the ends of seasons, we're going to go back and we're going to spruce up that old stuff so that it runs better and is less buggy, and then we're going to reintegrate it into the game. And then they have been on panic mode the whole time. So it's just never going to come out.
And so the bloated full file size with everything in it would be completely unrealistic for anyone to download.
Yeah, that's supposedly.
I see.
I remember when they were saying that, people were like, you're never going to do that. Never. And also, I was informed by this chat while we were joking that Concord comes out in 2 weeks. Sure. I only mention that in this conversation because Concord is the shooter made by the Destiny 2 PvP team, which I should let you know that Destiny's PvP sucks and is bad.
What is this?
Concord?
Team shooter.
Yeah, it's a team. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay. Boy, I forgot.
Yeah, did you know or did you forget?
I feel like we discussed this, or
we did.
Yeah, we did discuss this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
So that's gonna die.
Fuck. Oh boy. All right. Well. God bless. Now the thing is too, as well, it's like I was gonna say, like, with an ongoing live service game, you know, Final Fantasy 14 and World of Warcraft are all there, and they have their infinity budgets behind them. So sure, but yeah, is Warframe not the direct comparison point?
Warframe and Destiny were direct comparisons,
right? Team size and scale and budget and everything like that.
And they had opposing strengths. So Destiny's shooting and its content was really solid and really tight, but content was really slow to come out, and they would never let off the leash and let you really go for it and have fun. Warframe has so much content. It is so weird and spread out and inconsistent and goofy to find, and they will let you get so overpowered that you can ruin the game for yourself.
Okay.
Like, they are the opposite of each other.
Well, you know, there was always that one I think there's one dungeon or boss that's like super duper cool melee stuff that Esteban was telling me about. That's like, there's the content that's worth seeing, but it's DLC that you have to get to after some time and whatever.
What game are you talking about?
Destiny. Apparently there's some sick boss that does some rad
there's a lot of cool bosses in that game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you would have to go at it for a while, and you'd be miserable.
Yeah.
You'd be fucking miserable, like, grinding out through Destiny.
I bought the first one and put a bit of time in, and then was like, yeah, this isn't for me. You know, it was a classic. Like, I spent my money, I tried it out, did some stuff, didn't fully enjoy it that much, and never went back to it. Like, you know,
hey, by the way, if you guys are sad about Destiny probably on its way out, and want something that feels similar to Destiny, I was sponsored by a game a long time ago, but I still heartily recommend it. It's called what's it called? Remnant 2. You can get it for $32. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it.
So in addition to Bungie as well with the resetting of the clock this time around. Something a bit more, I suppose, foreseeable, but still. Game Informer magazine is shutting down, the longest running gaming magazine in the US.
Would you like to say, so you thought that this was foreseeable?
In the sense that it is a print magazine about video games in the year of our Lord 2024.
Would you like to know who didn't foresee this?
The people working at Game Informer.
No, actually, the people over at EA. You see, the Game Informer cover story with all the exclusive details and interviews about Dragon Age Veilguard, that's never going to come out.
There's a bunch of stuff that was meant to be revealed that.
Yep. That was the big part of their marketing campaign was like, look, we're on the front page of Game Informer. Well, they have the Dragon Age Twitter links to like web pages that no longer exist.
I mean, okay, it couldn't. How big of a part could it have been, given that this is where Game Informer is currently at, right? Like, I remember, like, they would have these really awesome covers over the years. They'd be these really beautiful, incredible. You know, like, just they'd get like original renders in some cases from the companies to just print out shit, that official art that you wouldn't see elsewhere, I guess. Yeah. You know, and that's kind of the standout to me. And yeah, I think I grabbed a few from a multi-mags, you know, every now and then or wherever, but I mean, it really was just like the most niche specialty kind of thing, though, right? To be collecting, I guess, a print magazine these days. So
I mean, luckily enough, we can go back and read some of that content and those interviews and see some of that art on Game Informer's website.
About that. It kind of just links up to GameStop. So
that website is gone. It's been deleted. Every single article Game Informer ever wrote or video content ever in the history of the magazine is all gone. Are you saying that it is all gone, that it's been completely reduced to atoms for no reason?
We held shift as we dragged it to the recycle bin.
Okay. Well, at least one of the editors was able to get a hold of the Twitter and put out a statement about how proud they were to work there, and how proud they are of the magazine. And I'm now seeing that once that message went out, the people behind the account deleted the account.
Oh my god. Okay, so Shot, our 33-year legacy, deserves a genuine goodbye, written by a former Game Informer member. We're heartbroken by the shutdown of our publication, and we leave with pride knowing we poured everything we had into it. In the words of our editor-in-chief, be well, play well, and then a link to the credits of the people who worked on it, immediately followed by, this account does not exist. That's just why the time cop fucking putty never existed.
Do you want the cherry on top?
Please.
4:53 p.m. July 29th, 2024, GameStop responds to the Xbox 360 store has officially shut down with the phrase, bet y'all wish you bought physical copies now.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Was that a threat?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Okay. Got it. Hey, everybody, fuck you. How about that? Eat shit. No legacy whatsoever. Gone forever. Cool. That's great.
I talked about this at length on my stream when it came out and people wanted to talk about it, and I was like, GameStop is going to be on its way out. And it's crazy because literally all GameStop had to do as a specialty games retailer is not be the worst place I have ever shopped in my life every time I go in there. Like, that's it. They could even be terrible, but literally the worst place I have ever had to shop ever in my life. Every time I went in there,
like, my mind was made up halfway around the time they were opening up my game and taking shit out that was promotional and intended for me, the buyer, and or taking out the cartridge and then replacing it in the box to give it to me at the cash, and then lying about, you know, when shit was coming out and the prices.
For me, it was two things. One was watching you lose your mind trying to get that copy of King of Fighters 11. I wasn't even in that story and I felt it.
It became the principle. It became the principle. Like around the fourth or fifth time you walk in and the guy sees you, you know that you're like, we're just doing this. We're going through the motions. I know what you're going to say.
I'm going to ask, you're going to lie.
You're going to stare. We're going to stare at each other for a couple seconds. And then I'll be like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. You know, like we're going to play this dance.
The other one is grabbing, I think it was Portrait of Ruin, buying Portrait of Ruin, brand new the day it came out, and slapping it into my DS and having a fucking clear save sitting there on that fucking cart.
That's the one.
And being
right. Mm-hmm.
Like you can't delete this. Whoever did it was like, oh shit, fuck it. But like
the very concept of like having something sealed in the box, which they have a fucking Xbox seal on the disc. There's the sticker on the Nintendo cartridge. Like the boxes have a seal, and like you cannot. Everything you are buying is used right away because fuck you. We open it up and we separate what's in there and we decide what you're allowed to get. And if we think that you should not be getting a digital copy of Deus Ex Human Revolution, then we're going to take it from you and literally just steal it and not give it to you.
So I remember there were some games that wouldn't happen to. And I remember because I would go down there and sometimes you'd see like the shipment come in. And certain companies were super crazy about street date. And so the pallets would come in and they would be packed differently. So like Halo, I remember seeing Halo 3 come in, and Halo 3, the whole pallet was in cellophane and like do not open before this day.
Okay.
And like under what I assume was some form of like legal threat.
Right. Yeah.
So that one, I remember picking it up and like, no, that was sealed.
Yeah,
right?
Well, you know, I mean, we can discuss all of these little irksome tales as if they weren't also being like, hey, employees, during the fucking pandemic, go die, please, and stay open, even though the cops are shutting you down and kicking you out of the mall.
But die, though.
Fight the cops to keep it open. It's launch day, and we need to be open on launch day. Like, we can't, like, we just casually, you know, ignoring the part where that happened for a while.
You know what? I look back, and I can pinpoint the exact moment that I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to come into the store ever again. And I would occasionally do so if I needed a controller, and then would leave without the controller because buying it was so miserable. Like, you ever get 10 minutes into the purchase and you're like, I've been here for 10 minutes. I'm at the front and we're just talking about words. I just walk away. Right? But the moment that it broke, I forget what it was. I think it was buying a Call of Duty game. Don't remember which one. And it was one of those open like floor copies. And I was like, can I have a new one, please? And he's like, it is new. I'm like, one that's sealed in the thing. And he goes, well, I can reseal it for you with the machine in the back if you want. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, one, you are treating me like a stupid child. Like the only reason I want that is so I can tear it open. And two, so every single copy in here, even the ones that are sealed, are now devalued.
Lies.
Okay, bye.
It's all lies. It's 1,000,000%, you know. But hey, if you ever needed an emergency amount of Funko Pops to bury yourself in and die underneath, they've got you covered. So, you know, just make sure that you keep that handy if you need to go buy like 3,000 Funkos in one shot.
Like I described it when I was talking about it on my stream. I was like, I found out that so you remember where the EB Games is and where the Best Buy. I mean, you still have them in Montreal. They're right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Best Buy's still there though.
It is.
I discovered it was faster for me to go to the McGill Metro Station and walk all the way to the Best Buy, grab the controller off the shelf, and go through Best Buy's line and buy it, then go to the EB, which is like multiple blocks closer, and try and buy the controller because of the amount of time you have to spend the cash saying no to their bullshit. It's like legitimately faster to go multiple blocks out of my way.
Yeah, no. The Squeenix offices were not too far from there back then, and it was just like you have a shorter trip to the EB or to the GameStop, but like fuck that. I just go to the Best Buy. You might as well. And it's like it's crazy because like for the longest while it was like, why would you go to the, you know, it's like going to the Walmart gaming section. It's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be, you know, like half the shit that's gonna be there is
yeah. They don't try and grab my dick and milk it for money when I go in.
It's just, you know, that awful little hut that was there in the corner is now preferable. And it's like, yeah, I guess you can just go in and get the game, and guess what? It's actually inside one of these plastic fucking things. They open that up and here you go. It's sealed. It's a new copy.
You ever try and get there and they ask you in that condescending tone if you pre-ordered and then they still don't have it for you?
Yes.
Why did you even ask me?
Followed by, yeah, I think next Thursday.
Did you even ask me if you don't have any?
Great stuff. Oh, funny thing about that Best Buy downtown is a Computers Canada opened up right next to it. So cool. If for any reason you need to buy anything, if you're like, I gotta go buy an $80 HDMI cable, you can just stop at the Computers Canada first and see if they have something like
a $3
perhaps a $5 HDMI cable. You know. But anyway. Yeah, there you go. Fuck the legacy of Game Informer digitally entirely. It's all gone forever. And the goodbye message itself was shot out of the sky. So, cool. Perhaps somebody out there has a bunch of PDFs that'll show up on archive.org or something.
You know, I have a sneaking suspicion that'll probably happen. We got somebody in the chat says, I was working at GameStop and my manager sold the copy of a game I had pre-ordered.
Oh, hell yeah. Sick.
Why?
You're not a human.
Dude, that's like one of the only perks.
You're not a person.
You get first dibs.
Why would you think you were a person? You're not. Like, fuck out of here. No, hell no. Good stuff. All right. So beyond all of that, we got some updates to an old story. So to pull back the old "don't name your kids Khaleesi" bit
from every year since 1992,
a child of 6 years old named Khaleesi was unable to be issued a passport because the passport authority said Warner Brothers has to give permission as it owns the trademark to the name.
Now, to be fair to this stupid family,
yes,
they are like, Khaleesi's on her birth certificate. Why the hell would the passport
to which
they have a problem?
To which the passport authority then apologized for the error, but
it screwed up their trip. They couldn't go.
They were supposed to go on holiday together, and then they were turned down, and the kid couldn't go to Disney because they literally said no. Warner Brothers has to approve the usage of your child's name. Good job.
So
they straightened it out, but they couldn't go on their trip, and I mean, it turns out WB does not have to allow the child to exist. So that's good. Yes, they did eventually get their license for that name. They did. But yeah, I just think we continue to reiterate that if you're gonna
Khaleesi, it's pronounced soccer.
Like, if you're gonna go with a really nerdy reference name of some kind, and you've completely, and you've tricked your partner into something, just give your kid the out so that there's a normal name they can use inside of that, maybe for short or something. Give them a chance. Don't give them no chance whatsoever. You know.
Really, so I
I say this delicately because there are extremely high odds that people listening to this are in the category of people who have or are considering using game or movie or media reference names for their kids. So I know, and we might already be past that point. So I say this with the thickest kid gloves ever. Just give the child an out in the form of a nickname of some kind, an option select, if you would. You know?
So when Paige and I were trying to think up names for the boy, Paige in particular was going through heaven and high earth, all sorts of databases, but she found the Reddit for name nerds, which is the baby naming subreddit.
Yes.
And discovered through that what might have been the greatest Am I the Asshole short story ever posted.
Oh, are we talking about young baby Karen?
We are talking fucking goddamn it. We are talking about baby Karen.
It's famous. It's a famous story. It's a famous subreddit story at this point.
It is, for anyone who doesn't know, you should go look it up. But it is a sister trying to convince her sister not to name her new baby Karen, and that it will be a problem. And the year by year breakdown of it becoming a massive, massive problem.
I mean, your bullet point takeaways essentially are that the family is so offline and they have no idea what has happened to the name, and they just are insistent. And this is before the kid's born. And the sister is really trying to delicately explain to them that this is a name that doesn't mean the same thing anymore.
It's terrible.
It's going to be a rough life for the kid. Just don't commit to this. And they're like, not just saying no, but aggressively being like, fuck you, sister.
Why are you trying to fuck up our baby's name? Why are you saying all these horrible things?
Why can't you just be cool and not just be this huge bitch, right? And the mother and the sister and the family are just aggressively shutting it down, and then, of course, you fast forward and it's like they start to get the inklings as people are kind of smirking and laughing and
people at the kids' daycare,
right?
Are cracking wise
and they're
the baby,
and they're like, oh, something's going wrong, right? And then I think it's 2 or 3 years past to the point where the kid is getting into that exactly, they're fully in the daycare, and it has come down heavy, and the kid's being almost teased, and it's just coming up constantly.
So she's going by a nickname at the daycare, right? But the kicker, the bullet, is when they went on a trip, and the guy at the airport checking the kid's passport literally turns to the other guy in the booth and goes, "Get a load of this." And the second guy looks at it and goes, "Oh, poor kid."
Right? There's an actual isn't there an actual joke on fucking Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt where it's who names a baby Karen, right? It's insane. It's an insane. So anyway, and we've talked about how as well the baby name registrar, it's it went to 0 in Canada last year, right?
Zero.
So the family, the grandmother and the mother now come back to the OP, the sister, and go, "Why didn't you tell us how bad this was?" And she's like, "I fucking told you. I tried really hard." And you
almost got iced out from the whole family.
And you all shit on me for trying to tell you. I fucking tried to tell you. And they're like, "Yeah, well, you should have tried harder." Like, oh my God. Like, it's that. That's the part where I'm like, I'm nuclear. I'm wild.
So me and Paige, we were driving somewhere. This was back before the little guy was born. And we were talking about this for hours because we couldn't get enough of it. And we were like sitting around going like, is there a boy's name that is as tainted as baby Karen's? And the only thing we could come up with was Adolf. Yeah.
But yes, this is clear. This is true. 100%. Chad is also kind of like fucked in this current way. Tyrone is not doing too well, you know, but
Tyrone.
But there is a whole category for the other things, like the Aidens, Jadens, Bradens, Zadens, Cadens, and so on. And so you have your baby name like subreddit, right, that you mentioned. There's another subreddit called Tragedy, and I don't know if you're familiar with this one, but that's let me you gotta
I'm gonna type something to you now.
Okay, because you have to spell this one correctly, right? This is TRAGIDEI. Tragedy is a subreddit dedicated to people going, "Oh dear God. Oh dear God, it's the name and the spelling." That's fucking crazy, by the way. That's fucking nuts. That is some wow. That sucks. That sucks to hear. But yes, people with no awareness naming their kids these horrible things, and then the alternate spellings and such, and it's a discussion about all of that, and it's great. It's fucking wonderful because it's people that are just like hyper aware, being essentially the sister in that story, you know, encountering in the wild or talking to people they know about their decisions to be creative with the naming of just awful things that are going to haunt the kids forever.
I'm glad that white people have decided to democratize the alienating experience for their children of creating names that no one will ever be able to pronounce on the first try. Like way to like really just like spread that horrible feeling around.
Man, it's like you can't. It's a back and forth. You don't know what you and your partner are going to have to come up with and agree on and so on. And, you know, you're probably going to... Well, anyway, there's a lot to consider, right? But just whatever it is, just give the kid an out from your own bullshit and your partner's bullshit. Like,
I think
whatever you try to impose, if the child wants nothing to do with any of that, give them the opportunity to abbreviate or use a version of it that completely cuts the tumor of your bullshit out, because they might hate it.
One of the funniest parts of going through names with the wife was we went through, because, you know, we didn't know right away if boy or girl. So we're going through girl names, and I think Paige fired off maybe 2,000 girl names at me. And I think I might have shot down 1,900 of them with the same phrase, which is like, that sounds like a hooker's name. just like literally conversations lasting over an hour where that is the only thing I have to say the whole time, which would always lead to her going, "What the fuck? It can't. You can't know. It can't be.
Is it a car? Is it a watch? Is it an object? Is it a physical luxury object? You know?
And then
is it a concept?
Then you run into the absolute like worst but most fun part of naming your child is, what about this name? I really like that name. Well, I knew a guy with that name, and that guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
And then you run down that list and discover there are like 100 people living in your head as like, I knew a guy with that name, and they're an asshole, and they're the only person you ever knew that had that name.
And so it's tainted forever. Yep, even if it's a nice one, you know. Yeah. And then there are you know how there are like I forgot what the name of it is, but it's like theories about like certain people look a certain way and thus they kind of like become that energy of the person they look like. There's a whole name for that or whatever, but it's also a thing with names too, where it's like if you have a name that will
it changes your personality to some degree.
Exactly, right? To which, you know, I think I've said it before, but it's all like, we all know a chastity.
Yep. Anyone named after a virtue will become the opposite of that virtue.
We all know what's up. Yeah. So, you know, anyway, just, you know, if you're going Game of Thrones,
don't
wait for the show to end. Wait for the media to end if you're going with the media, you know? But yeah.
Somebody in the chat, don't forget Jessica. Jessicas are so cursed.
I mean, but Jessica was the most popular name circa 94, yep. I think it was.
Every single one of them I've ever met was Psycho. 100%.
And I think right after that was Rachel because of Friends, and then immediately after that
so I think the fun thing is like we make fun of Khaleesi, but like it's always been like
it's always media. It's always media.
It's just fantasy or sci-fi media was a little newer to be super mainstream.
Yeah.
So like it kind of flew under the radar.
It went to Rachel because of Friends, and immediately after that was Isabella because of Twilight.
Yeah.
So it won it, and going back to the 60s, it's always been media, you know. Anyways, look forward to baby millennia any time now. Oh God, yeah.
There's just,
I mean, we've gotten I've heard from we got an email some time ago about someone who worked in a classroom with a baby Sora and Riku, you know. I mean,
oh man, that reminds me, this is a different Reddit thing, but it was somebody on Name Nerds getting like mad and asking if they had made the right decision because from one of their favorite TV shows they had decided to name their twin boys after these characters, only to discover much later in life that these characters are actually gay for each other. And then you're reading and you're like, please don't be Aziraphale and Crowley. And sure enough, it's like, you need to pay attention from Good Omens.
Okay.
You need to pay attention to the media you're consuming, because that shit was on the wall. It was not hard.
Like, you could almost get away with like, oh, I like the sound of this one name, right? Oh, that's interesting. But if you're going both, it's like, no, there was no mistaking this. This is deliberate and true. All right. Well, anyway, speaking of baby Huaralu and baby Radon,
speaking of,
so there's been the last interview that Miyazaki did. He was talking about how they're like, his dream Elden Ring is still not his dream game, but they're getting close. Thank God. This one recent interview, Elden Ring is the limit for From Software's project scale. Multiple smaller games may be the next stage.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, well, yes, but people need to hear this. Do you know? Like, people need to hear it from his mouth, because like I there's just there's player expectations are, oh, what I just got, but now always this forever, because I don't care about reasonable logistics and the concept of the scale of what we just got. Right.
Like we play video games like as part of our professional careers, and Elden Ring is exhaustingly huge.
Yeah. The idea that, oh, cool, Elden Ring is now the new baseline and everything is going to be here on out, and it's like,
oh God, that's so ridiculous.
People need to hear this, right? And also, yes, an Armored Core coming out and being a normal video game also helps as well. But if they can execute, different concepts and give them the proper amount of treatment and keep things tight, by going back to a teensy whittle game the size of, I don't know, Bloodborne, by relative comparison, that would be great. That would be wonderful. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just you roll by a Dreamcast wish post for a Marvel 4 or something, and it's like literally just like there are about 300 characters squished into a Photoshop versus each other, and I'm just like if you want a JPEG to fly out and then just shout the name of the character and then jump back in, then okay, sure. If you're down with fucking U.S. agent and it's just a JPEG slamming into the other one and nothing, and that's it, and then it's gone and the life bar depletes, then yeah, we can do that. We can do as many as you want forever. But no, if he's talking about a game that's going to be taking things towards his dream game, and they have other small scale projects, that's awesome, because that means they can get more concepts out as well.
You want to hear a funny different opinion on this?
Sure.
So when Sven over at Larian was asked about what's next for the Baldur's Gate 3 team at Larian, the next game will be even more ambitious and bigger, and then later said, well, it's not going to dwarf Baldur's Gate 3 though. That's as much as they're willing to commit to that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's still ridiculous. There's only two types of people playing Baldur's Gate: those that have beat it 14 times. I see you in the chat, and people who got to Act 3 multiple times and started over.
Now, I don't know that, like, this is just a guess here, right? But like, we don't know exactly how much George R.R. Martin is doing, right, in terms of Elden Ring. But clearly, there's a whole layout of the stuff that was planned.
Oh, he banged it out on a napkin in 25 minutes. And
sure.
When they were shocked that he did it so fast, he's like, "Oh yeah, I could do it if I wanted to."
But I'm like, if you're going to if you're going to make like Elden Ring as a reference point for scale for a future setting, and you're like, yep, this is where we're gonna start from now on. It's gonna be this big. I kind of imagine you would also have to work with someone that is like a George R.R. Martin that can oversee that narrative. And,
yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that treating it the way that they have up until that point with their smaller games would be even a possibility. When you get to this fucking insane scale that Elden Ring is at, you'd have to get another author or someone, that can handle it at that scale and that size. I have
an image in my mind of George R.R. Martin inside like a office building with a whiteboard, and he just writes JRRM.
GRRM.
Just starts filling in random names, and everyone's going, oh.
Wow! They start popping off. Just everything's connecting to the G's.
That's
and the
crazy.
Yeah, pogging out. That is up, and then yeah, just a fun one over here. So the rumor mill on Half-Life 3.
Fuck off.
Rolling around. Natasha Chandel, an actor, has who did some narration work for a couple other game projects, is had her website get fucking downed from exceeded bandwidth because she updated her reference sheet to list Valve's Project White Sands as something that she worked on. And folks have been saying that what could it be? And it's like, well, she did voiceover for Project White Sands, a video game from Valve. And White Sands is a park in New Mexico, the state where Black Mesa is. So... and then it was updated and removed as well. So
you know what's really funny? I'm on Deadlock the Games public subreddit, a game which doesn't exist according to Valve, and all that footage is out there. Have you seen this?
the shooter, their team shooter,
the on foot mober. Like I watched a ton of footage for it.
I watched them, yeah.
And somebody reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want me to keep your name open for the invite?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, fucking, I don't care." Like,
I got that.
like
I got that
Valve,
message.
Valve sucks at keeping secrets. They are bad at that.
I remember looking at some of that footage and seeing him being like, "Oh, okay," and then there's a similar message as well about like, "Oh yeah, maybe checking it out." My brain is fucking Rivals pilled.
Oh yeah,
at this point. So, I mean, it's gonna have to do some things, you know. But yeah. Anyway, so you know, Half-Life 3, super duper confirmed for real this time for sure. This one I don't really know. I haven't had a chance to actually like check it out, but a game popped up on Steam called Aotenjo, and it's Aotenjo. And when you seize it, can you seize?
Fuck off.
Can you see what you're looking at?
Fuck your shit off.
It's Mahjong Balatro.
It's just Mahjong Balatro.
It's like super duper identical, but it's with Mahjong. And you know, I mean, now that I've
oh my god, I'm watching the animated GIF on the page where the score is being tallied up. Like, wow, it is exactly the same.
So there's a demo. I haven't tried it yet, so I'm not too sure. But you know, a recent foray into Mahjong on Yakuza 0 LP has cemented me as the god of Mahjong. After all,
yeah, that's true.
I as someone who does crutch it with my my pawn, I'll have to take a look at this and see. You know, I mean, look, there's room for another game to create a fun roguelike, you know.
Feels a little derivative.
It's the exact same visual style, font, and everything. But, you know, yeah.
This is a little derivative.
We'll see what's going on. And I mean, I'm sure in development, in much like the Vampire Survivors into Vampire Survivor clones like timeline, we have not yet seen the Balatro clones hit full speed.
You know what's wild about Vampire Survivors and all of its clones? There's still none that are like better than Vampire Survivors at all. Like, it's still like when I want to Vampire Survive.
Agreed.
I just boot up Vampire Survivors.
Yeah. Some of the others had some high points. There's some interesting stuff. But after giving them a lot of them a shake, I agreed. Vampire Survivors is the best one. And then adding the extra modes and shit was cherry on top regardless.
I wish I could talk to somebody who says HoloCure but isn't just horribly VTuber pilled, because then I would get a real opinion, because I can't separate it. You know, like every single person that says like HoloCure is definitely excellent.
It's
right?
fine. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
But every single person that recommends it is like and all your favorite characters. I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, it's good. It's not better, you know. And same thing for Torment of something, or I forgot what it's called.
Halls of Torment.
Yeah, the Diablo one. It was very good. It's just it's not better. So anyway, yeah, just only other thing I'd throw up there is Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy Finale news. Queen's Blood is getting revamped and will be even better.
Yeah, okay. So I'm torn because Queen's Blood is very good. Queen's Blood is excellent. However, in the FF7 Intergrade DLC, Condor Tower was excellent. And then when they put it into Rebirth, they decided, you know, it'd be great if we ruined Condor Tower.
That's true. You said it gets worse. I remember.
So hopefully when they say better,
they don't mean
better
worse
instead of much worse.
What was the problem with the changes again?
Condor Tower went from buy units and build your entire set of units in Condor Tower against set stages.
Yeah.
To pick preset unit packages.
The whole deck, the whole group was all one shot.
Yeah.
You couldn't customize.
And they were bad.
Okay. Yeah.
So like by trying to make it simpler, they made it way harder.
Yeah, that sucks. Picking out your units individually and finding which ones felt better and stuff was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, starting at a good point here, so. All right, let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
Here's one coming in. And I'm giving greetings from Pat and Wooly. Oh, actually, this is from Axe from Michigan. Says I was watching some Metaphor ReFantazio footage and getting excited, but then my excited cooled after I remembered it was an Atlus game. For the past decade, every game from Atlus has gotten a better version released with more story and gameplay improvements just a few years later. It gets a new subtitle, a new waifu character, and it's full price. This includes mainline Persona and SMT, most recently being Vengeance. Atlus being Atlus does not offer any upgrade path and makes it so that you have to buy it again at full price. How do you feel about this situation, and are there any publisher developers that you feel so burnt on financially that you won't go back? Great question.
They are so before we even go into how we feel about it, they have done interviews about Fantasio, and they know, and they have said that Vengeance is the last one of those they are going to do. They're going to be going the DLC route from now on.
There you go. Right? Because you are 100% justified in feeling that concern. It's absolute bullshit that happens every single time and is otherwise guaranteed. The thing with this is it's not even like, hey, don't make those updates or whatever. That's I expect that. That's what they do, and you get more so. The fact that you can't have an upgrade path is just greedy. Like there's no two ways about that.
So
the re-release, I expect the inability to buy a way to integrate it off of your base version is an absolute fuck you every time.
And we know this because we play fighting games.
Yeah. No, it's insane, and like like the. Yeah, whatever. Like if you have, I mean, if it being integrated deep into the game versus as a separate mode or whatever, like Vengeance has it as a separate mode. I do like that. That's nice. It's distinguished in that way. But yeah, no, like I actively never went to Royale, and I don't know that I will. Like I maybe one day, but I really just don't feel it because I just don't want to do all that again. And like,
you know what? You know what's this weird thing, because they did make it better. I played a bunch of Royale and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was playing and I fell off it because like the new stuff they added is legitimately fantastic. Like playing pool with a catchy rules. But you still have to go through all the boring parts that you remember from last time and you're like, fucking get on with it to get to the fucking new stuff.
If they say that that metaphor is only going to have DLC, then that's great. We'll have to see if that only applies to the franchise metaphor or if that is a actual universal thing. Because
I will say
a Persona game that comes out from here on out might still fucking eat that shit. We'll see if they're fucking lying or not.
In terms of what they have said, they have never said we're not going to put out another version of it until now. And for Persona 3 Reload, they're putting out the answer as DLC.
As DLC, yes.
So like they have started that process already.
The way it's generally comes across though is like, hey, the Atlus first release of something, you're buying the early access version essentially.
Yeah.
You're buying in because you want to check it out now, and that there's that coming down the line, but you're paying for not wanting to wait. It's stupid. It fucking sucks.
And you know what's crazy is they always manage to wait just until you started it to announce the next version. Like, hey, it took a couple years, but you're finally going to get a hold of Persona 4. Hey, Golden's coming. Stop playing that right now. So I had a version of this happen. It's not quite the same, but it is the same level of frustration. So Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous is a big old CRPG, and it's super, super cool, and I really like it, and it's very complicated. And I played it off and on for 100 hours, but I've never made much progress because it's very complicated. But the other problem is that they put out a season of DLC, right? And I said, you know what? CRPGs, they tend to be very buggy. I'm going to wait till that first season of DLC is over, and then I'll start. And then they announced the second season of DLC. Okay? So Wrath of the Righteous came out in fucking September of 21. They just put out what is the equivalent of their Citadel DLC 3 weeks in June, right? That's a bit. That's a while.
Jesus Christ.
But then I'm going into the Season Pass 2 thing, and the final update for what's it called? Dance or whatever. And the very last line in that update is, don't worry, there's more to come. And I'm like, stop.
Yeah. Right.
Stop. Fuck. Literally stop.
Man,
because it's a mix of like side campaigns, and we actually totally integrated this into the main story.
The funny bit is like, hey, with SMT and, like, okay, so yeah, they're dropping Vengeance, and it's like, please make it so that you offer an upgrade path so that someone who bought the base version can just download this for the cheaper version, and then it'll upgrade their base game and it'll be great and whatever. It's like, cool. All right. Here you go. Would you like to download this upgrade path for your Switch copy of SMT5? Fuck no. Give me that shit on fucking Steam, baby. Like, what are we doing? If you're also freeing the game from the console it was on,
it's free.
There's something to that. I will give you a little bit more leeway. The Golden is Vita exclusive at the end of the day, but yeah, like, I would definitely like as much as I want that to be available, there is no chance in hell I would have gotten that for anything not for Steam, mind you.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, again, we did our fucking sponsored thing for it, so that's nice. But it's like, hey, what do you want them to give me the fucking Steam code? What are we talking about? Like, no, I'm not going back on Switch for that. Golden was ported to PC later, y'all, right? It was Vita exclusive when it launched, right? For years.
It was Vita exclusive later.
Yeah, I'm talking about that.
You know what? I think I might be safe. I think that update might have actually been referring to some other fucking, because they announced that their DLC would have full voice acting after that don't worry, there's still more surprises to come. So hopefully that means they're done with that season. Stop it. Stop. You can only play CRPGs properly like 3 years after the last patch. So stop. Just stop.
Is that the time frame? Yeah, okay.
No, but like genuinely, like the types of games are like so buggy that like you kind of want to always wait until after the last DLC is out and then like maybe 6 months.
I mean, dude, I can barely grasp this concept of like, hey, this game you were excited for just came out. Don't play it. Wait for the fan mods to come in and fix the problems first.
I mean, a really good example is Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is a dramatically better game than it was 1 year ago. And that was all just patches.
Right. And it was already a great game. Incredible.
Yeah.
All right, and let's take one more here from Nick. Hey, Pat and Wooly, it's me, Nick. Hello.
Hey, Nick.
On the last podcast when Wooly was talking about the Chinese nuclear reactor WhatsApp fake news, and then later the mention of Genius Kojumbo, it got me to remember the times when Kojima falsely was used for some fake media rumblings. Maybe the most famous one was a French politician using his Instagram post to illustrate Shinzo Abe's killer. But one curious case was a chain of WhatsApp messages in the year of release of Death Stranding down here in Brazil. Said chain of messages reported that the biomedicine researcher Dr. Hideo Kojima was successful in mass-producing genetically modified babies in artificial wombs in order to supply Japan's low birth rate, with approximately 3,000 babies in development and assigned for future work in factories across the globe. What other bizarre fake news messages come to mind for you guys? And there's a picture there.
Gonna beat that. That's crazy.
And the picture is with fucking Kojima holding the BB toy.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
yeah.
and then the message in Portuguese with an urgent warning. And it's incredible because it's like, of course, the person who gets off on like writing these attention-grabbing lie moments, like has to throw in these babies are assigned for work in factories around the globe bit at the end, just to get the full, you know, flat earth level conspiracy shit working in there. It's good stuff. You know, I remember when I found out like a while ago that it was like, what is the point of these stupid chain emails that your parents would send to each other and then to you? Because
I know exactly why.
Yeah,
do you know why?
No, I do. I know, but I didn't. I remember like not for years. You'd get email threads that were just completely like, Bill Gates is going to send $10 to everybody who forwards this to their friends, and if you forward it to over 50 people, you're going to get $20 instead.
Yeah.
God is good all the time. All the time. God is good. Forward it to all your friends now.
The real reason, Wooly.
Because at the end of this giant fucking stupid useless chain letter, you have a fucking bot that just crunches all those emails and throws that into a fucking spam machine and has your emails ready to spam. It was the way they'd collect these addresses and then sell them back to people.
But how come your mom would repost it?
Well, because she would think she would be getting money from Bill Gates.
Do you know why? Because if I lose this ring, my wife will die. It's the same mentality. It's the same thing.
I mean, the crazy part that like I was like on just not even on the nefarious, like understanding the nefarious creators part. Like I'm like, oh, okay, right. I get it. You're doing this to trick the gullible. But on the gullibles part, I'm like, okay, but auntie, like, Bill Gates didn't give you $10 the last 3 times. Why do you think this 4th time it's going to happen for real, though? Is it because the photo of the person that's really blurry that's holding up a bunch of money is like, yeah, it worked for me? Like, is that what pushes it over the edge this time? You know, like...
Well, I think there's a grand irony. I think there is a grand irony here in that the generation that told us you can't believe everything you see on TV will bring their iPad over to you and go, check out this shit I found on Facebook.
I've already talked many a times about the murder of Africa.avi attached in email threads that got spread around like wildfire through the church community. And it was like, look at what they're doing. Look at what's coming. Look at what's happening to our community. And you click, and it's the trailer for Resident Evil 5. The first version of the trailer.
Yeah, that first one. Man, I'll never forget. I'll never forget being like, you seen this? And you went, no, why? Because you were like, what? I'm like, you got to sit down and watch this shit. And just I got to fucking soy Wojak, look there, look at your face, look at the thing, like, oh, it was great,
man. Yeah,
your whole body went tense and then sagged, and you were just oh, what a fucking it would be so brave if they made that game again the same.
Because
so brave.
The trick that everyone was able to feel threatened by in RE4 because they couldn't understand because it was different.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
It's just Spanish people are scary, right?
How about that?
Oh, the Inquisition.
It's different.
It's like the same, right? You pick a region and then you pick them with like weird, scary stereotypes.
Different is scary.
Oh, it's very scary.
Could you imagine if you took what was different plus zombies?
Oh my God. It's like they're not human. It's like they're barely human.
Yeah. So, good stuff on that. All right. Now, remember, send this podcast to 20 of your friends. And if you do, you will be blessed by the cube goblin.
The cube goblin
of good tidings.
It'll make sure that every time you fold your bed, it'll be all nice right angles and there'll be no creases. But I'm realizing as I'm describing this that I'm letting out my own insanity by accident because no one cares about that shit.
And if you don't send it, to 20 friends, then your dishes that are air drying will become moldy.
Oh, come on.